Chapter 14:14. Cut the crap and come in. Otherwise, he'll run away. Heavenly King Zhen growled, interrupting Fang Ping's flattery. Enough. If you still don't come, I'll be in big trouble. Godfather, did you enter with your real body? Fang Ping was curious. Was it his true form or his origin form? If it was his true body, he would need to use the source soil to lay it down. Thinking about it, did the old man lack the source soil? Not at all. He had an origin Earth star. How could a true tycoon not have origin Earth to pave his origin world? Sure enough, Heavenly King Zhen quickly said, true body. If it was the origin body, its strength would be greatly reduced. Even if Fang Ping and the old cat's origin body entered, they would not be a match for the Emperor God. It would be a wasted trip. The Heavenly King Zhen Wang did not say anything else. With a light shout, a small world appeared in the void. The door opened. Quick, enter. Heavenly King Subduing's voice was sharp. Hurry up. What are you waiting for? Fang Ping was unhurried. He brought Big Cat with him and stepped into the void. Beside him, Heavenly Hound was just about to enter when Heavenly King Zhen scolded. Wait! The Heavenly Hound's face turned ugly. Was he looking down on dogs? Can I go in and take a look? It was good to watch the fun. Why can't this emperor enter? Heavenly King, suppressing, did not have the time to care about it. The Heavenly Hound was in the midst of being indignant. With a rumble, the door that had not disappeared yet. Fang Ping was in a daze. A streak of blood appeared on his head, extending all the way to his crotch. Fang Ping's expression was ugly as he glared at the Heavenly King. Wasn't he supposed to be trapped? Didn't you say you were going to ambush him? As soon as he entered, he was caught off guard and was slashed out by a saber. Damn it! Fang Ping growled. Beside him, Tengu broke into a run without saying a word. Forget it. I'm not going to watch the show. It felt like nothing good was going to happen inside. Fang Ping had just killed the monarch's doppelganger so quickly that it thought it could go in and reap some benefits. Now that it saw that Fang Ping had been hacked to this state, how would it dare to go in? Fang Ping charged into Heavenly King, suppressing source world once again. Heaven subduing King's origin world wasn't small. Even if it was only 100 meters wide, the world you could see inside would be larger than what you could see from the outside. At this moment, in the source world, the divine emperor directly attacked from the great path. The great Tao of Heavenly King, subduing, was now in ruins. However, for the Heavenly King Zhen Wang, even if his great Tao was broken, the problem was not as serious as he imagined. The source world, on the other hand, could not afford to have any major problems. Fang Ping charged in again. The Emperor God was fighting with the Heavenly King suppression. Heavenly King subduing was being suppressed. The suppressing Heavenly King who was fighting was not an origin form. At a glance, Fang Ping guessed that it should be his beginner form, but now it was being suppressed by the Emperor God. Fang Ping sensed the saber in the Emperor God's hand. It was not inferior to his chaos-vanquishing saber. Very powerful. In addition, the doppelganger was much stronger than before. Now, Heavenly King Zhen Wang was in a difficult position. Heavenly King Zhen Wang still had to protect his source world from being broken. What are you looking at? Go! Heavenly King Zhen roared. Fang Ping was still enjoying the show. When Fang Ping entered, the Emperor God also saw Fang Ping. His expression changed, and he said coldly, I see. Fang Ping had really broken 9. Previously, he thought that Fang Ping could only achieve breakthrough 9 under special circumstances. Looking at it now, it was a real breakthrough 9. Fang Ping had broken through 9 times, and Song Mao had broken through 9 times. In that case, with the help of Zhang Tao and the rest, the 5 clones might fail indeed. So, It wasn't the Yang god who did it. He still thought that the god creation envoys had gone to assist Fang Ping. If that was the case, then it might not be the Yang god who killed people, but Fang Ping himself. This old man has underestimated you. The Emperor God sighed. He had underestimated Fang Ping. He had actually broken through 9 times. Without further ado, the Emperor God turned and walked toward Heavenly King Zhenwang Avenue, returning to the source. The news of Fang Ping breaking through 9 times had to be brought back. He was not afraid of Heavenly King Zhenwang and Fang Ping. Even if the two of them joined forces, they might not be able to keep his doppelganger. This doppelganger was different from the previous one. Moreover, the beginner martial divine weapon was still there. This divine weapon was not inferior to Breakthrough 9. However, he did not want to continue fighting. He might not be able to kill the two of them. It was not worth it to lose this doppelganger. It was better to send the news back. When he knew that Fang Ping had broken through 9 times, his main body would naturally think of a way to deal with them. You come and go as you please? Heavenly King Zhen Wang scolded. You come and go as you please. Who do you think I am? I've given you face. Seal. With a low shout, a round ball shot out. With a rumble, the incomparably wide road was instantly blocked by a large ball. Heavenly King Zhen Wang scolded. Leave. Where are you going? He used the Earth Origin Star to block the entrance of the avenue. If you have the ability, you can break this and leave. The Emperor God's expression did not change. He looked at him and said calmly, Do you want to die? Blocking the avenue. Heavenly King Zhenwang's origin body could not be enhanced. He could only rely on the beginner martial body to fight him. Moreover, this was his source world. Wasn't the Heavenly King afraid of breaking the source? Heavenly King Zhen Wang humphed. Die. Do you think this doppelganger of yours can really do anything to me? Fang Ping, go. This attitude of closing the door and releasing the dog made Fang Ping a little uncomfortable. Heavenly King Zhen Wang seemed to be shouting, Dog, bite him. Why did it sound so unpleasant? Heavenly King Zhen Wang saw that Fang Ping did not move and said gloomily, Go. I'm only left with a beginner martial body. I'm not his match. Kill him. Kill him, and you'll definitely be rich. This is a clone transformed from his 2 arms. His chi and blood are extremely powerful, and his life force is extremely dense. There must be a mental power crystal. Even the Fist God is not as good as his clone. The Fist God had only broken through 8, but this clone had broken through 9. Furthermore, it was a part of the Divine Emperor's main body. This was definitely much stronger than the previous clones, and the benefits were also much greater. Also, Do's elementary martial divine weapon has been refined for tens of thousands of years. It's stronger than your Chaos Vanquishing Saber. Take it and fuse it with your Chaos Vanquishing Saber. Kid, you can kill an emperor with 1 saber strike. A divine weapon that had been tempered by a peak expert for tens of thousands of years. One could well imagine how powerful it was now that Do himself was not around. If Fang Ping could integrate it into the Chaos Vanquishing Saber, that would be really amazing. The God Emperor did not panic. He held his saber and slashed it across the ground. With a boom, the earth shook. The source world trembled. The Divine Emperor said lightly, Zhen, you are seeking death. Since that's the case, I'll destroy your original body. Break. With a low shout, the long saber fell, and with a rumble, it struck the ground. Bang. The Heavenly King Zhen's beginner martial body rushed over, holding a long staff. He lifted the saber, but the long staff cracked. The Heavenly King Zhen's veins were bulging, and he roared, Fang Ping, what are you doing? Are you watching the show? No hurry. Fang Ping was not in a hurry. The chaos-vanquishing saber suddenly turned into 36 saint tokens, 8 heavenly king seals, and 1 emperor seal. Seal! With a low shout, these seals instantly hid into the source world. The source world immediately stabilized, no longer trembling like before. The god emperor's eyes gleamed. "You want to trap and kill me?" Fang Ping was so confident. He did not use the chaos-vanquishing saber, but used it to seal the source world. Did he really think that he could kill him? Fang Ping ignored him, his vitality erupting. In the next moment, a large net soared into the sky, covering the sky and the sun. This was not enough. A flying carpet also rose into the sky, disappearing in the blink of an eye. He wanted to seal this world completely so that the god emperor could not escape. Big cat mentality intimidation. Meow. The cat meowed. In the void, countless kittens suddenly appeared, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws at the god emperor. This was the first time Fang Ping saw the cat intimidate its opponent in this way. Meow, meow. One by one, the kittens kept meowing. The god emperor's expression changed slightly, his mentality a little turbulent. Hundreds and thousands of kittens appeared around the god emperor, meowing constantly. Even Fang Ping felt a little annoyed. Lock you up. The cat's main body was still next to Fang Ping. In the next moment, it threw out the heaven-confining bell, sky gong divine peaking mirror. On the other side, Heavenly King Jun was a little dazed. These two tycoons. Fang Ping threw out many divine weapons. So did the cat. At this moment, his source world had gathered 6 or 7 divine weapons. The god emperor wielded his saber, breaking through the air, slashing at a kitten. With a rumble, the kitten was broken into pieces. The god emperor did not delay. His speed was extremely fast, the Changdao sweeping across, vitality erupting. With a sweep, the kitten was broken into pieces. Awoo! The cat was a little annoyed, letting out a different cry. As for Fang Ping, he did not make a move. He estimated that the god emperor's avatar with the Changdao was a little frighteningly powerful. The avatar's vitality was about close to 50 million calories, but that saber increased his strength by at least 20%. In other words, this avatar, when wielding the saber, had an explosive force close to 60 million calories. Although not as powerful as Fang Ping, the gap was not big. If Fang Ping really wanted to kill him quickly, he might be seriously injured, and the Heavenly King Jun's source world might not be preserved. 2 arms could explode with such powerful vitality force. Fang Ping knew that this time, the god emperor would probably pay a big price. If that was the case, he must make him stay. Rumble! The Heavenly King Jun attacked again, working with the cat, and fought with the god emperor. For a while. In the blink of an eye, the Heavenly King Jun was covered in blood, and he was killed. Just as the god emperor wanted to chase after him, tokens suddenly appeared in all directions. The tokens formed a defense formation. The god emperor slashed, causing the formation to tremble for a while. "You want to exhaust my strength?" The god emperor was indifferent. He saw through Fang Ping's intention. But would this work? The Heavenly King Jun also roared, "We can't drag this on. The avatar has lost contact and hasn't returned for a long time. His main body might come to kill us. We must end this quickly and hide the source stars so that he can't find us. The god emperor might come to kill us. If his avatar really did not return for a long time, he might come to kill us. There's no hurry. This is caused by your bragging all the time." Fang Ping rolled his eyes. "If you did not brag and say that you trapped him, I would not have exposed my strength and come in. To think that I thought I could kill people when I came in, who knew that the other party was suppressing you." The Heavenly King Jun was aggrieved. Who was bragging? You were just guessing. Fang Ping did not bother to say more. After watching for a while, he asked, "You're a beginner marshal. How strong is your mentality?" The heavenly King Jin was stunned for a moment, but quickly said, "More than 90,000 hertz." Fong Ping was even more stunned than him. More than 90,000 hertz? What the hell? You're a beginner marshal, but your mentality is close to a qualitative change. You're too scary. Once there's a qualitative change, won't your beginner marshal break 9 points directly? Fuse. Fong Ping could not be bothered to be shocked anymore. The old man's strength was terrifyingly strong. His beginner martial body was close to breaking 9 points. Once he fused them, his strength would probably skyrocket. All right, the subduing king wasted no time. He flew toward Fong Ping in an instant. In the blink of an eye, he landed beside Fong Ping. With a rumble, he wrapped Fong Ping up like a meatball. Fong Ping's face was flushed. With a roar, his vitality soared. The subduing king's beginner martial vitality was close to 40 million calories. Vitality, not force. This old man did not convert it into force because his mentality was not strong enough. Even so, Fong Ping felt that his beginner martial body might not be any weaker than Fist God's. It might even be stronger. The strength of his physique was much stronger than Fong Ping's. Right now, Fong Ping's basic vitality was only 19 million calories. Rumble! Fong Ping's vitality erupted again. The source world was shaking violently, as if it could not withstand it. At this time, the God Emperor, who was breaking the formation, changed his expression slightly. So powerful! The God Emperor did not waste any time. He broke through the air and slashed at the flying carpet and fishing net in the void. At this time, he felt a strong sense of danger. Fong Ping had the strength to kill him now. Trying to leave now? It's too late. Fong Ping had wanted to exhaust him. In the end, the subduing King Avatar had fused with him. Fong Ping realized that he was terrifyingly powerful. He might have exceeded 70 million calories. At this point, how could he not even defeat a clone? Die. Without a weapon, Fong Ping threw a punch. The cat shrieked, shocking the God Emperor again. It was not just the cat. At this time, in the void, another subduing king appeared suddenly. There was a rumble, another burst of mentality. This was the source body. The God Emperor's body trembled slightly. His saber still hit the fishing net. The fishing net and the flying carpet creaked. Even a part of it cracked. But the heaven-confining bell and the other divine weapons quickly suppressed it. Behind him, Fong Ping threw a punch. Seeing that he could not break the seal, the God Emperor turned around and slashed with his saber. Rumble! Fong Ping's hand was bleeding profusely, but his punch sent the Changdao flying. The God Emperor Avatar's arm exploded. "I'll beat you up." At this time, Fong Ping was like a demon king. He clenched his fists and quickly closed in. His fists were like phantoms, one punch after another, extremely fast. The rumbling sound of explosions was heard continuously. Sparks flew everywhere. The God Emperor's expression was solemn. He kept fighting back. Although his combat strength was not as good as Fong Ping's, his skills were superb. Diverting force, borrowing force, predicting. At this moment, the Avatar was displayed incisively and vividly. Fong Ping gave it his all, but he felt a little exhausted. He had experienced this feeling from Old Man Li before. This also showed that the God Emperor's understanding of martial arts was beyond imagination. After all, he was the #1 emperor in the world. Even if he had not fought for many years, he did not abandon it. Even his avatar's combat strength was unparalleled. The 2 avatars that Fong Ping killed earlier could only be considered robots. This avatar had a bit of an avatar's flavor. Quake, the God Emperor, threw a punch. Fong Ping also threw a punch. The fist force vibrated. Fong Ping's whole body trembled, but he broke the spell with force. One punch caused the God Emperor's arm to explode. No matter how superb your skills are, your strength is still not enough. If I break the spell with force, I can still kill you. Exchanging injury for injury. How could the avatar compare to the real body? Meow. A sharp meow sounded again. The cat had also noticed the God Emperor's flaw. This meow was extremely sharp. The God Emperor's head roared. His vision blurred. Fong Ping threw another punch. Bang! His sternum was penetrated. The God Emperor was sent flying. At this time, all the saints quickly sealed the Heavenly King seal. The divine weapons like the heaven-confining bell wrapped around the God Emperor. In the blink of an eye, the God Emperor was trapped in the divine weapon array. Fong Ping did not dare to slow down. He attacked the heaven-confining bell madly. Clang, clang, clang. A series of sounds were heard. The entire source world trembled violently. The Heavenly King's voice was heard, a little anxious. Hurry up, or else my origin will be destroyed. Not good. Hurry. His real body seems to have sensed it. Kill him quickly. I'll shift the origin stars. The Heavenly King was getting more and more anxious. Fong Ping was also a little shocked. He was shocked by the God Emperor's tenacity. The three powerhouses joined forces and so many divine weapons, yet they still could not kill the God Emperor. This guy's avatar was probably not much weaker than the previous 5 avatars. This guy did not use much strength to kill him previously. Old man, hold on. I'm going to explode. Fong Ping roared. On both his fists, blood red filled the air. His vitality was burning. The Heavenly King's voice suddenly sharpened. Control it. Don't overflow. It was too late. Rumble. With a punch, the heaven-confining bell was directly flattened. Rumble. The inside of the heaven-confining bell was directly turned into nothingness. The God Emperor's expression also changed. With a rumble, the avatar exploded, turning into a bloody mist. The aftermath shook. With a rumble, the source world began to crack. The Heavenly King could not care so much. He quickly broke away from Fong Ping, put away the origin stars that were blocking the way, and roared, I'll shift the origin stars. His real body is coming. Rumble. At this moment, in the source universe, a large star seemed to be burning, fleeing at high speed. The Heavenly King could not care less about hiding his whereabouts. He had to run far away first. The source world. The rumble was endless. Dong Huang roared, Qiong, what are you doing? Qiong actually ran away. He stopped suppressing the source world and ran away. At this moment, the entire source world was shaking. Surges of energy spread out, bombarding all directions. The walls were cracking. Emperor of Heaven Reverse's figure emerged, suppressing all directions. The other God Emperor also showed up, suppressing the turbulence. The human emperor scolded, Qiong, do you want us to be trapped together? Do you want to leave? From the distance came the God Emperor's voice. Cold, something happened to my avatar. How is that possible? Before his voice trailed off, they saw a shocking scene. Not long after the God Emperor left the source world, with a rumble, his arms that were cut off had yet to recover. Now, even his shoulders were blown up. Everyone was silent. Something had happened. Qiong's avatar was killed. How long had it been? Was he killed? How could Qiong's avatar be killed so quickly? Emperor of Heaven Reverse shouted, Come back! Rumble! The source universe was shaking. However, at this moment, someone cursed, Summon my hammer. The saber is mine. It was the Heavenly King's voice. Emperor of Heaven Reverse's expression changed. He shouted again, Come back! Rumble! In the source universe, a vast planet was glowing. A saber appeared on the planet. Emperor of Heaven Reverse's expression changed. His natal saber was trapped. Emperor of Heaven Reverse, don't even think about the saber. At this moment, another person appeared on the planet. Fang Ping's voice was loud. He stood on the planet with pride. In front of him, the array formed by the seals of the 9 emperors was trapping the saber. Thank you, Emperor of Heaven Reverse, for the gift. Fang Ping chuckled, his silhouette slowly disappearing. The next moment, in the Source universe, the planet dimmed down and vanished. He has returned to the 3 realms. In the Source world, Emperor of Heaven Reverse's eyes glowed. The golden ray pierced through the Source world and looked toward the Source universe. But he knew that Fang Ping had left. Fang Ping had suppressed his natal saber, left the Source universe, and returned to the 3 realms. He has reached the 9th level. Emperor of Heaven Reverse murmured. Outside the Source world, the God Emperor's expression changed. His arm grew out again. The next moment, a long sword returned from the sky. His natal divine weapon. He had been guarding the Source world. Now that he was summoned back, the God Emperor did not say anything. He wielded the long sword and dashed toward the direction where the planet appeared. Boom! Like a shooting star, the long sword lit up the entire Source universe with flames. Boom! The sword slashed. However, there was nothing but desolation. The place where the large star had appeared was now empty. In the Source world, the chaos was getting worse. Right then, Emperor Dong Huang suddenly groaned and shouted, "Come back! Damn it, someone is taking my natal divine weapon." The God Emperor's expression changed as he heard this. The Source world was in trouble again. Hao's natal divine weapon also had the ability to break the 9th level. Now, someone was taking it. Just now, he had called back his natal divine weapon. Now, it seemed that Hao could not hold on any longer. Bastard! The God Emperor could not help but bellow. His voice shook the Source world. Fire was burning everywhere. Where did so many powerful warriors come from in the 3 realms? At the Source world, was it a natal divine weapon or many natal divine weapons? His avatar was killed. The others' avatars were also killed. Now, there was a change in the Source world. Thinking of this, the God Emperor sighed. War. Speaking of which, the chaos today had a lot to do with war. If it was not for his arrow that shook the Source world, the Source world would not have been shaken as soon as he came out. Then, his main body could have descended for a longer time. At first, he thought that it was just a delay. They could quickly suppress the Source world and return to their previous state. But now, things were getting more and more troublesome. The God Emperor sighed and did not stay any longer. Zhen had already escaped. It was difficult for him to find his whereabouts in the Source universe. His avatar was killed. He could not even locate him. He should suppress the Source world first. The long sword disappeared again, breaking through the air. Something had happened at the Source world. It was better to continue suppressing the Source world first. Zhen would settle the score with him sooner or later. The God Emperor broke through the door and entered the Source world. He had just disappeared. In the next moment, outside the door of the Source world, a cat grabbed a person and appeared next to the door. I'll let you guys mess around again. Fang Ping gritted his teeth. His origin form held a round ball in its hand and smashed it toward the Vitality Gate with a rumble. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out again. Crack! The Vitality door was broken. At this moment, the powerhouses who cultivated vitality in the 3 realms all felt a powerful vitality force gushing out from the Sanjiao Gate. Fang Ping did not say anything. He grabbed the cat's tail and fled quickly. Fang Ping. An angry roar resounded throughout the 3 realms. The emperors were enraged. The God Emperor, who had just left, did not expect Fong Ping to be so bold. He actually let the cat bring him to break the door. That day, when the god emperor used the vitality door, Fong Ping had only split a small opening, and many things had happened. Today, Fong Ping directly used the Earth origin star and punched a big hole in the vitality door. At this moment, the source world was rioting. Breaking the door and breaking the door were not the same. The heavenly King Zhen and the others broke the 9 and entered the source world. That was the Tao breaking the door. As for Fong Ping, this guy directly smashed through the source world door. These two were completely different. Fong Ping, you bastard, you're asking for it. At this moment, the God Emperor was also furious. Bastard. At this time, the vitality door was cracking. The God Emperor could not sit still anymore. He hurriedly flew toward the vitality door. The God Emperor also hurried back, shouting, "Hurry! Repair the vitality door." In the 3 realms, the vitality powerhouses were still absorbing large amounts of pure vitality force. Each of them was extremely shocked. They all saw it just now. They vaguely saw something. Fong Ping used a round ball and smashed through the vitality door. After that, endless vitality force surged in. What did Fong Ping do? He went to break the door again. The reason why it was set again was because until now, on the vitality door, Fong Ping's last words were still there. God Emperor, I'm going to 9th heaven. Be careful with your divine weapons. Ha ha ha. At this moment, there was a wild laugh. In the Dark Source universe, Fong Ping grabbed the cat's tail and disappeared in the darkness. As soon as he said that, the God Emperor roared. Heavenly Emperor reverse sighed. Without saying anything more, he quickly condensed a clone and disappeared. Dong Huang did not delay either. He quickly condensed a clone and disappeared in the source world. Trouble. Fong Ping was lighting fires everywhere. However, they were somewhat restricted by the source world and could not leave. The God Emperor's eyes were cold. He said to the source world, "Gee, come to the source world with your real body and hide in the dark. If Fong Ping really dares to go, kill him." Even if the few of them couldn't leave, one of the others could still leave. At this point, they had to prevent Fong Ping and the others from attacking 9th heaven. 2 clones might not be of any use. So many clones had been killed. At this moment, only the Emperor himself could go. This time, the Emperor did not refuse. He could not refuse. Quickly suppress the source world and repair the door. The Emperor did not waste any more words. He tore the source universe apart and disappeared on the spot. The source world must be suppressed. Otherwise, it might be breached today. As soon as the Emperor left, the source world quieted down again. The Emperors all had their own thoughts. At this time, the Spirit Emperor's voice came, mocking, "A bunch of living dead. No matter how strong they are, what can they do?" Were the Emperors strong? Very strong. Unfortunately, they were all a bunch of living dead. Most of their energy was occupied by the source world. Many emperors were actually fooled by these people from the 3 realms. The divine emperor said coldly, "So, I don't want to be a living dead anymore." The reason for these arrangements, the reason for the 10,000 years of chaos in the 3 realms, what was it for? Wasn't it because he didn't want to be controlled by these things? What a joke. If you don't break free, you will forever be restrained by the source. Only by transcending will you no longer be restrained. An emperor who was no longer restrained was definitely not like this. They would never be overwhelmed by one Fong Ping, one town. Today's chaos had arisen precisely because they wanted to break the deadlock. As soon as these words came out, everyone fell silent. Even Ling Huang didn't say anything. Yes, everything. Wasn't it all for the sake of not being a living dead? Chapter 14:15. Forbidden Sea. Fang Ping walked out quickly, once again suppressing the battle divine weapon. Not only did he have to suppress the divine weapon, the blood in the heaven-trapping bell was also rapidly fusing together, as though it was trying to form another clone. Fang Ping needed to suppress it too. If it were not for the fact that these divine weapons could not be used, Fang Ping would not have asked the Heavenly King Garrison to borrow the stars. My ball. Just as the Heavenly King Garrison was about to speak, Fang Ping said angrily, "Damn it, the Emperor God chased after me too quickly. I didn't have time to retrieve it." Heavenly King Zhen's face turned from green to purple, then from purple to black. He suddenly cursed, F***CK off. Do you think I'm an idiot? Give it back to me. He was about to fly into a rage. Do you think you can fool me? I started my business by robbing and conning people. You actually fooled your father. Don't talk nonsense. Let's go to the 9 heavens. Where are you going? Heavenly King Zhen cursed. Are you courting death? Do you think the Emperor is a fool? Why is he not going to suppress the immortal origin now? The Emperor's true body will definitely descend. Don't go looking for death. Fang Ping said regretfully, Then we'll just give up? This is a rare opportunity. As he spoke, he shook his head. Forget it. I'll go and help old Zhang and the others first. Just as he was about to leave, Heavenly King Zhen grabbed him by the neck and unleashed his beginner martial body. The origin body and the beginner body surrounded Fang Ping at the same time. Bastard, give it back. Heavenly King Zhen was flustered and exasperated. You want to change the topic? No way. My original Earth Star. My life savings. That thing was too precious. Even if he was beaten to death, he would never give it to Fang Ping. That black-hearted bastard snatched whatever he saw. He might as well kill him. As he spoke, Heavenly King subduing cursed, Bastard, your chaos-vanquishing saber and battle's natal saber are both supreme treasures. I'm already so poor, yet you still want to take advantage of me? Has your conscience been eaten by dogs? Woof! The Heavenly Hound let out a low cry. Bang! Heavenly King, subduing Chu Wu Shin, punched him on the head and said angrily, What are you shouting for? Did you eat his conscience? Woof! The Heavenly Hound was dumbfounded. Why did you hit me? When you say that, this Emperor will say something along the way. Why did you hit this daddy? The subduing Heavenly King could not be bothered with it. He did not care whether the Heavenly Hound was happy or not. He continued to roar, Return it to me. Here. Fang Ping's expression was one of nonchalance. He tossed the small ball over and muttered, Stingy, to think that you would treat something made of mud as a treasure. Heavenly King Zhen snorted. He took the ball and looked at it. There seemed to be some marks on it. He said disdainfully, You want to take a piece and leave? He was thinking too much. I've been refining it for more than 10,000 years. If you can cut a piece off, you'll be amazing. Fang Ping rolled his eyes. This old man was guarding against him. No wonder he did not remind him to lend it to him. Fang Ping did want to scrape some off, but in the end, there was no way. Are you really not going to the 9 heavens? Fang Ping was still a little unwilling. He still wanted to go to 9th heaven and continue his mission. Heavenly King Zhen exhaled and said, If we go now, we will definitely encounter the Emperor's true body. Also, it might expose those guys. We've already created an opportunity, but we don't know if they've completed it. It's better not to go now. I'm afraid it will cause chaos. Emperor True Body. He did not know who was coming. If it was Emperor Nan and the others, Fang Ping would not be afraid. However, if it was a few of the top few, then forget it. They were not a match. Heavenly King Zhen said quickly, Stop talking nonsense. Absorb the Emperor God's vitality as soon as possible. This old guy is terrifyingly powerful. His arms are broken, but it's still enough for you to hone your physique a little more. suppress the divine weapon of fighting, and call Shu Xiang. When the blacksmith comes back, we'll work together to recast the chaos-vanquishing saber. There are many things to do now. Even if you fight with the Emperor True Body once, what's the use? Other than making them more wary of you, what else can you do? So what if you kill one? The most important thing now is to solve other troubles, improve your strength, and wait for the final battle. Don't think about what you can do now, kid. This time, the harvest was huge. He killed 8 clones. No, he also killed one at the Immortal Origin, and one outside the Origin. A total of 10. This was the only opportunity like this. It was already very successful now. Fang Ping still wanted to create more results, but Heavenly King Jin felt that it was not feasible, and the losses outweighed the gains. Your strength of breaking 9 has been exposed. Now, they still don't know how far you've gone on the path of breaking 9. You haven't shown your true strength. If they really find out, you kid will be in big trouble. You still have to hide something. Also, the speed of your improvement must be faster than their speed of reaction. Heavenly King, Jin said, seriously, the foundation of the 3 realms is almost exposed this time. Shu Xiang might be exposed this time, and my strength has also been completely exposed now. All? Fang Ping asked doubtfully. Really? Nonsense. Heavenly King Jin said impatiently, how strong do you think this old man is? All these years of accumulation, these days, all have been exposed. Fang Ping raised his eyebrows. Your old beginner martial body, can you break 9 after absorbing the Emperor God's vitality? The Emperor God's clone was definitely stronger than Fist God. Logically, such a powerful vitality was not weaker than the Emperor God, who absorbed the supreme beginner martial. If Heavenly King Jin absorbed it, could he achieve a beginner martial breakthrough 9? Heavenly King Jin laughed. Are you willing to give it to me? Fang Ping needed it too. Or, rather, he needed all of it. The Emperor and the first Emperor. The Emperor God's 2 arms were much stronger than the Emperor West's 4 limbs. The difference of tens of millions of cal between the Emperor West and the Emperor God did not seem to be much, but in reality, there was still a fundamental difference between the 2 of them. The Emperor God's clone forced Fang Ping and the others into a panic, and many of them had broken 9. But if the Emperor West's real body came, Fang Ping might not be afraid of him. This was the difference. Fang Ping raised his eyebrows. Why not? This time I cut off his arms. Next time I'll cut off his legs. Heavenly King Jin laughed, looking at Fang Ping with a low laugh. If my double body breaks 9, after fusing, my combat strength will soar, and you may not be able to suppress me. Can you rest assured if you can't suppress me? The current Heavenly King Jin's performance was still not too strong. If he was strong, he would not be chased by the Emperor God's clone until there was no way out. About 50 million calories. Of course, this was referring to the origin body. The beginner martial body was less than 40 million, but it was close. Previously, when both bodies joined forces, they were suppressed by the Emperor God's clone. Why must I suppress you? Fang Ping squinted and smiled. In this day and age, when the sky falls, the tall ones hold it up. You're really stronger than me. Help me hold up this collapsing sky. Isn't that good? Heavenly King Jin said nothing. Beside him, Heavenly Hound could not help but drool. If you guys don't want it, give it to me. If I absorb it, I can definitely break 9. The 2 arms of that old guy, the Divine Emperor. This is a comprehensive improvement. If I break 9, I will help you guys too. Heavenly Hound wanted to rob them. If not for his lack of strength, he would really start robbing them. He was too greedy. The other Emperor's clones were almost burned to ashes. If they were forged by divine weapons, the divine weapons would have been destroyed. But the Emperor God's clones were really forged by flesh and blood. This was different. Fang Ping said impatiently, "Your mentality almost changed qualitatively. Absorbing this is a waste." "How is it a waste?" Heavenly Hound said, unwillingly, "Mentality changing qualitatively is very difficult. Even if we find the void gate, it may not necessarily change qualitatively. But if we absorb this, it should be possible. Give it to me. If I eat it, I will definitely break 9. If I break 9, there will be a few in our group who have broken 9. Heavenly Hound was drooling. Breaking 9 was right in front of it. It was not far from breaking 9. If it swallowed the Emperor God's arms, its chances were high. Fang Ping pursed his lips. Everyone needed this. He would not give it to Heavenly Hound. Even if he did not use it, Heavenly King Zhen did not use it. There were many people waiting in line to use it. Old Man Li, Ironhead, Old Wang, Old Zhang, these people could use it. Moreover, he could actually use it himself. Of course, if he used it, the improvement would be limited. He was already extremely strong now. He did not face any major obstacles. Using this was actually a bit of a waste. The effect would not be too good. At most, it would increase his vitality by 1,000,000. Therefore, Fang Ping did not plan to use it himself because it was really not worth it. Heavenly Hound's face was full of displeasure. It swung its tail at the cat that was playing at the side. "This stupid cat, we are in the same group. Don't you know how to fight for some benefits for me?" The cat grabbed its tail, looking at it strangely. "Big Hound, are you trying to catch fleas?" Heavenly Hound wanted to vomit blood. "Catch your head." This stupid cat was never smart when it needed to be. It was as stupid as a pig. As they were talking, the void shook. "Run!" A loud roar was heard. In the next moment, Demon Emperor, Hong Kuan, Hong Yu, these people fell from the void and fled in all directions. Behind them, a long sword came, but just as it shattered the void, it left in an instant. The 3 realms were not peaceful. The Emperor God was also afraid that he would lose his life divine weapon. As soon as he came out, he turned back immediately. Demon Emperor and the others fled in all directions. Each of them had a lingering fear. It was too dangerous. Initially, after killing Emperor West's clone, everyone thought it was over. Who knew that more and more powerhouses would come later? It was not powerhouses either. The Emperor God's divine weapon and Emperor East Emperor's divine weapon were coming one after another. They did not give up. But now even Emperor East's clone and Emperor of Heaven Reverse's clone had arrived. If they did not leave now, they would not be able to. These people fled from 9th heaven. Fang Ping's eyes flickered as he looked around. "Kill them!" Fang Ping growled and looked at Heavenly King Zhen. "Kill them and ruin the Emperor's plan." As soon as he said this, Heavenly King Zhen frowned. "You are forcing the Emperor to come. Fang Ping, bear with it. Now is not the time." It was really not the time. It was not that the Emperor could not come out now. If he came out, the source would be in chaos, and they would suffer great losses. But once Fang Ping killed these people, they knew that even the Emperor would not kill them. Didn't they see that the Emperor himself did not attack them when he came? He just did not want to kill them. If he really wanted to kill them, where could they run to? Fang Ping's eyes glinted fiercely. He took a deep breath and suppressed the urge to kill them. He said in a low voice, "Okay, I won't kill them now. I still need King Kuan." As he said this, he looked in one direction and asked in a low voice, "What about him?" Heavenly King Zhen knew who he was talking about. He shook his head slightly. "Don't act rashly for now. It is very likely to be the earthly emperor's true body." By now, Feng Yun's identity was about to be exposed. It was very likely to be the earthly emperor's true body. It was extremely powerful, and did not feel like a clone. Otherwise, even if it was the Emperor God's clone, they would be able to detect some clues. Only the true body could hide from them. That was either the earthly emperor or the sun god. Only these two true bodies had not appeared. If it was the sun god, heavenly King Zhen would more or less sense it. After thinking about it, it could only be the earthly emperor. The earthly emperor was in existence with a combat power of nearly 100 million. It was not something Fang Ping could match. Then let him continue to wander the three realms. Fang Ping was worried about Feng Yun. He did not know what this guy's purpose was, but he had been staying in the three realms. Previously, he even wanted to spy on them. However, Fang Ping was not a weakling. He sensed the abnormality and quickly shattered the void. Feng Yun might want to test his strength. Heavenly King Zhen saw that he wanted to fight everyone now and said hurriedly, "Go back first. No, break ninth heaven first. Didn't you say you won't fight?" Nonsense. Create chaos and let them return. Otherwise, they will know that they went to ninth heaven. Heavenly King Zhen was also a decisive person. Without saying a word, he tore the void with a punch and shouted, "How? Lend me the divine weapon." As soon as he said that, ninth heaven was torn apart. At this moment, Dong Huang held the divine weapon and appeared instantly. The divine weapon was like a pagoda that pressed down. Kaboom! Heavenly King Zhen flew backward. In the blink of an eye, a long sword came slashing at him. At this moment, Fang Ping also threw a punch and deflected the longsword. Ninth heaven was in chaos. Fang Ping wanted to continue, but Heavenly King Zhen suddenly shouted, "Go! There's a real body!" Fang Ping's expression changed. He quickly tore the void and escaped into the dark void. At this moment, a hand descended from ninth heaven. Heavenly King Zhen saw this and shouted, "If you chase after us, the celestial source will be destroyed. Try it if you don't believe me." At this moment, the three realms seemed to see a shadow. It was incomparably huge, covering the sky and the sun. This aura was the same as when the emperor had descended that day. As for Fang Ping, his eyes were blood red. He laughed cruelly and said, "Come on, come. I'll kill all the origins of the three realms and ruin your 10,000 years of planning. Let's see if you dare to bear the wrath of the emperors." As soon as he said that, Fang Ping broke the void and landed in front of Hong Yu. Hong Yu's expression changed, and he fled quickly. However, Fang Ping threw a punch. Boom! The void collapsed. Hong Yu bled and fled again. Fang Ping went after him. Behind him, a palm as white as jade stopped. The emperor's voice was heard. "Fang Ping, you may have broken the 9 realms, but you can't defeat the emperors. If you kill them, the 3 realms will return to chaos, and you will die too. Don't threaten me." Fang Ping shouted, "Then I'll open the 3 realms again. I'll see how long you can live. I'll let you old men stay in the ground of origins until the end of your lives. Can you bear to do that?" The emperor chuckled. "Can you bear to do that?" "If you push me too far, you can try." Fang Ping did not back down. He went after Hong Yu and laughed. "Let's see if you kill me first, or if I kill them first. Godfather, go over there. When he comes to kill me, you destroy the celestial source." On the other side, Heavenly King Zhen broke the void and appeared in 9th heaven. Emperor Dong Huang came again with the pagoda. He sighed. "You can't destroy the celestial source." Meow. A cat's meow was heard in 9th heaven. The next moment, the Emperor of Heaven Reverse's avatar appeared. "Cat, don't mess around." At this moment, the God Creation Ambassador and the others appeared in 9th heaven. Luan and Sherpa were there as well. The Emperor God's long sword appeared. The Emperor laughed. "Fang Ping, do you have a chance to destroy the celestial source?" They were all intercepted. Why don't you give it a try and see if you can kill the others before I do? The Emperor's giant hand came again. You're forcing me, aren't you? Fong Ping gritted his teeth. I didn't want to argue with you, but you just had to force me. Looks like you didn't suffer enough last time. At this moment, Fong Ping was chanting. His voice echoed in the world. Ancient heroic spirits, listen to my call. Show yourself. Don't kill the useless Emperor Ping. Take the Emperor God's divine weapon, destroy the celestial source, and ruin the plans of these old men. The three realms were quiet. Fong Ping had gone crazy again. What the F***CK are you summoning? In the sea, Di Xing asked curiously, is he hinting at you? He thought Fong Ping was hinting at Feng Yun. Taoist Feng Yun frowned. He was not sure. Or did Fong Ping have a plan? At the edge of ninth heaven, the boy servant felt that Fong Ping was hinting at him. But did he think it was appropriate for him to show up now? If he showed up, some things would be exposed. For example, Zhang Tao and the others had been to ninth heaven and were not helping Fong Ping. If so, the emperors would definitely investigate the celestial source. When that happened, some things would be completely exposed. The boy servant was hesitant. Fong Ping roared again. Seed from the ancient times. Almighty seed, if you don't help me one more time, I'll kill you later. Do you still want your blind mother? If you get the divine weapon, I won't argue with you about what happened before. You owe me so much money, I won't charge you any interest. Everyone was in a trance. Even a seed was involved. Was he really summoning, or was it fake? It was fake, right? The emperor did not bother to say anything. The giant hand continued to cover Fong Ping. In ninth heaven, Emperor Heaven Reverse continued to stop Song Mao, and Emperor East continued to stop Heavenly King Zhen. On the Divine Emperor's divine sword, an illusion appeared. The Divine Emperor's illusion. On the other side, the God Creation Envoy, and the others looked solemn. There were many powerhouses who had broken through 8, but they might not succeed in suppressing this divine weapon. And the boy servant had not appeared yet. Fong Ping did not seem to be summoning him. Fong Ping was in danger now. Should he save him? While the boy servant was hesitating, heaven and earth suddenly trembled. At this moment, in the sea, a long saber suddenly shot out. It was extremely fast. It pierced through ninth heaven. Before everyone could regain their senses, the long saber slashed out, and the Divine Emperor's divine weapon also slashed out quickly. Rumble! A loud explosion. Energy swept through ninth heaven. The long saber shattered instantly, and the divine sword was also dim and dull. At this moment, the God Creation Envoy's eyes were bright, and he shouted, "Attack! Snatch the divine weapon!" There was really a powerhouse making a move. A saber cut through the spirituality of the divine sword. At this moment, the God Creation Envoy would not let go of this opportunity. With a roar, a golden hut appeared in his hand. Lock! The hut instantly covered heaven and earth, enveloping the divine sword. Not only that, the God Creation Envoy's 4 limbs suddenly broke and flew out. At this moment, his 4 limbs turned into 4 divine weapons. The divine weapon was like an iron chain, suddenly shooting out from all directions of the hut, locking the divine sword in the middle. Beside the God Creation Envoy, more than 10 avatars appeared again. They all stepped forward and grabbed the hut. The God Creation Envoy shouted, "Let's go, bring it home." As he said that, together with his avatar, he dragged the hut and fled frantically downwards. Old Zhang and the others were stunned, but they knew that they could not hesitate. They all exerted their strength, pulling the iron chain together and escaping towards the 3 realms. At this moment, the void shook. A deep and resounding roar sounded. "You dare to take away my divine weapon today? F***CK. Your grandpa. Fong Ping laughed out loud and roared, "If you have the guts, then descend. Let me see if your divine weapon is more important or if your source is more important. You have already lost your divine weapon. Can't you lose it?" No one paid attention to him. At this time, the human emperor could not care less about him. His mentality swept down from ninth heaven, instantly covering the forbidden sea. Rumble! The seawater was in turmoil, and countless demons died at the bottom of the sea. Who? The human emperor growled. Who attacked? In the next moment, his mentality swept in all directions again. On an island in the sea, Taoist Fengyan also took out his divine mirror, piercing through the sea, investigating the surroundings. However, at this moment, the human emperor's mentality swept over. Taoist Fengyan was somewhat helpless. The divine mirror erupted with light, and with a rumble, it pierced through the human emperor's mentality and shattered it. The human emperor's huge hand covered over. Taoist Fengyan was not interested in fighting him. He grabbed Di Xing and disappeared instantly. There was a rumble. The island that he was on previously was directly crushed and sunk. At this moment, Fong Ping was laughing maniacally, breaking through ninth heaven with one strike, appearing near Dong Huang in an instant. He roared, "Kill Dong Huang, then take the divine weapon." Dong Huang looked helpless. He sighed softly and said, "Ji, suppress the immortal source. Don't cause any more trouble." The situation was getting more and more chaotic. Even 9 emperors felt that it was getting out of control. The waters of the 3 realms were really getting deeper and deeper. Who was the one who attacked just now? It should not be Feng Yun. Then who did it? Sun God. It should not be either. Fong Ping had really summoned a powerhouse. Not only that, Dong Huang vaguely felt that there were still some dangers on ninth heaven's side, as if there were powerhouses hiding there. Trouble. If the human emperor attacked again, there might be trouble on the immortal source side. The human emperor snorted softly. He did not continue to investigate, nor did he find trouble with Feng Yun. He retracted his palm and instantly covered Fong Ping and the others. Fong Ping and Heavenly King Zhen did not dare to hesitate. They hurriedly tore the void and escaped again. The human emperor wanted to attack the god creation envoy again. Fong Ping scolded, "Are you King nosy? Is that your divine weapon? Let the god emperor take it himself. If you interfere again, I'll find a chance to kill you next time. Once the war starts, you'll be the first to be killed. If you don't believe me, you can try. With the lives of the 3 realms, killing one of your emperors is still possible. You." The human emperor was stunned for a moment. The huge hand that covered the sky suddenly retracted. Was he afraid? Not really. The key was, Fong Ping was right. It was not the emperor's divine weapon. The emperor's sword was broken, and no one helped him retrieve it. The god emperor's divine weapon was lost. So be it. Gee, the void trembled. The god emperor seemed to have sensed the situation here and knew that his divine weapon was suppressed. He shouted again. However, the human emperor had disappeared. It was not that he had disappeared, but that he had retreated to the vicinity of the immortal source, as if he wanted to continue guarding the immortal source. It was not easy to make a move. Anyway, he had already lost all face last time. This time, he would just pretend that he was afraid of Fong Ping. Losing face once, he was not afraid of losing it a second time. Below, the god creation envoy and the others locked the divine sword and hurriedly ran towards the human world. They had made a killing. The god emperor's divine sword was actually locked by them. They were really going to make a fortune. On the other side, Hong Yu and the others quickly gathered together, each of them dumbfounded. Did they really snatch it away? That worked too? At this moment, King Kuan could not help but be tempted. He said in a low voice, how about we rob Dong Huang? The Dong Huang divine weapon was still there. Of course, Dong Huang had a clone. It was very strong. But if they joined forces with Fang Ping and the others, if they snatched it, they would split it in half. It was really tempting. Hong Yu rubbed his forehead, looked at the sea area, looked at the ninth heaven, and sighed. Don't look for trouble. Fang Ping can't wait for us to be killed. Why would he cooperate with us for the divine weapon? Moreover, the situation today is getting more and more complicated. Someone in the sea area had made a move. Taoist Fengyan was also in the sea area now. In the Forbidden Sea, there were two top-notch powerhouses. Over at the ninth heaven, the situation was also complicated. At the source, there was unrest. If something happened, another emperor would descend. This situation was so complicated that even Hong Yu could not understand it. Where did so many powerhouses come from? What happened to the three realms? Fang Ping had broken through 9. Heavenly King Suppression had broken through 9, and the cat that was blocking Emperor of Heaven Reverse's clone seemed to have broken through 9 as well. Hong Yu felt that everyone needed to calm down. He said hurriedly, "Don't move anymore. Right now, the Emperor has reached the critical point. If there are any more changes, I'm afraid they will descend directly without a care." They could not move anymore. Now that the Emperor had been forced to descend, if they continued to force it, there would be another Emperor descending. Even they could feel the trembling of the Tao and the turbulence of the origin. If this continued, there might be problems. Without the 9 emperors to suppress the origin, they might not have a good ending. Chapter 14:16. The human sovereign realm was guarding the 9 layers of heaven. The East Sovereign Realm avatar had a relic weapon, and the Emperor of Heaven Reverse's avatar was empty-handed, but he was not an average warrior. It was obviously useless to charge into the 9 heavens with the 3 great experts keeping watch. As for Fang Ping, he was not in the mood to attack right now. The Divine Emperor was about to explode. If they continued to attack, the God Emperor might really descend. Heavenly King, subduing, and Fang Ping tore the void from the 9th heaven and descended into the Forbidden Sea together. Heavenly King, subduing, looked at Fang Ping strangely and transmitted his voice. "How did you summon it?" "Just give it a try." Fang Ping shrugged. He was really just giving it a try. Tai Tu said that he had seen that guy in the Chuwu continent. Tianbai said that he had the aura of a seed and was very powerful. Fang Ping thought, "I'll give it a try." Of course, it wasn't a big deal if he didn't show up. Would the Emperor kill Fang Ping? Even if he had to kill Fang Ping would not sit and wait for death. He really wanted to kill Hong Yu and the others. In the end, he still tried to smooth things over. However, this blade in the sea had helped the god forging envoy, and the other sees a divine armament, a very powerful divine armament. Who was God Emperor? He Do, leader Chu Wu. He had proven his Tao 30,000 years ago, and it had been tens of thousands of years since then. The divine weapon he had refined was incomparably powerful. Now that he had seized their divine weapons, it would be of great use. Fang Ping was chatting with the suppressing Heavenly King. On the other side, Hong Yu and the rest's eyes flickered. "Who is it?" Feng asked, feeling a little confused. King Kuan frowned and did not speak. Li Zhu raised his eyebrows. "Qin Feng Qin? Who?" Not many of the powerhouses present knew Qin Feng Qin. After all, he had disappeared for some time, and before he disappeared, he was not very strong, only a peak rank 9. Li Zhu said blandly, "A young human warrior, as famous as Fang Ping and the others. A young martial artist." Feng had a surprised look on her face as she said, "Young martial artists are so strong?" That / just now had the power to break through 9 levels. right? Seed, Li Zhu said blandly. Didn't you understand? Seed. Their expressions changed slightly. King Kuan frowned and said, What do you mean? Is he related to the seed? Li Zhu smiled and suddenly looked at Hong Yu. Hong Yu frowned and said nothing. Li Zhu smiled and said, If the information is not wrong, Brother Yu, when you first appeared, you brought this man with you. Don't you know something? Hong Yu frowned in silence. Seeing this, Hong Kuan bellowed, What are you still hiding? Ever since it was rumored that the earthly king was still alive, Hong Kuan no longer hated Hong Yu as much as before. However, he was still displeased with Hong Yu's mysterious behavior. Hong Yu frowned and looked at the 9 heavens. Suddenly, he said, The loss of the divine emperor's divine weapon might have been orchestrated by someone. The few of them looked at him in surprise. Hong Yu's expression was solemn, and he did not speak anymore. Instead, he sent a voice transmission. If it was really Qin Fengqing who attacked, then the human emperor should know what to do. Just now, when the God creation envoy and the others seized the divine armament, he had the chance to stop them. However, he suddenly descended to the Forbidden Sea and scanned the Forbidden Sea, missing the opportunity. What? King Kuan didn't quite understand. What does Qin Fengqing have to do with the human emperor? Qin Fengqing might be the successor of the human emperor. Hong Yu quickly said, In the past, I went to Dao Comprehension Cliff with him. Qin Fengqing has the shadow of the human emperor behind him. Human emperor? Seed. Qin Fengqing. Hong Yu murmured. He was a little confused and couldn't make a judgment. Beside him, the demon emperor also frowned, and his expression suddenly changed. Everyone turned to him. The demon emperor said, The seed is in the human world. Have you forgotten how the human emperor got his name? After the heavenly court was established, the human emperor stayed in the human world. Before that, he had always been in the human world. Of the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors, the one who had the most contact with the human world was the human emperor. Do you think the human emperor knew where the seed was? He might even be the chosen one of the previous generation after the heaven emperor. He might not have been interrupted. He might have gone to the human emperor's side. The heaven emperor was a novice martial artist. After the novice martial artist, it was the battle of all Daos, the era of the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors. At that time, who was the chosen one? War, or someone else? The God Emperor. And the others were actually very old. They were the representatives of the novice martial artists. The God Emperor, the East Emperor, the Heaven Reverse Emperor. The 3 were the leaders of the novice martial artists. The human emperor and the others were not. They were not famous during the novice martial artist era. Later, in the battle of all Daos, they defeated their opponents and became emperors. They became the most powerful in the 3 realms. At this time, there should be one person who dominated, like the Heaven Emperor. Later, everyone thought it would be Heaven Emperor Zhan. After all, Heaven Emperor Zhan was special. He was terrifyingly powerful. He rose to power in the shortest time. But was it really a war? If it was a war, Heaven Emperor Zhan died too fast, too early. If it was not a war, who else could it be? The earthly emperor, the human emperor? These 2 were the most likely. Even now, their ranking among the emperors was only second to the powerhouses with hundreds of millions of combat power. When the Heaven Emperor's projections saw Fang Ping, he said that Fang Ping was the seed of this generation. The Heaven Emperor himself was the seed of the previous generation. Was it possible that the human emperor was the seed of the middle generation? The Heaven Emperor did not say that Heaven Emperor Zhan was the seed of that generation. The monster emperor continued. The human emperor and then Qin Fengqing. Are they related? Hong Yu and the others were deep in thought. Feng smiled, her eyes twinkling. Interesting. I suddenly realized that the human world was actually very interesting. The human emperor, Qin Fengqing, Fang Ping, Zhang Tao, these four might be different. The sun god fought with the heaven emperor in the past. Could it be that there was something more interesting happening in this generation? Two people in one generation, one demon and one god. The sun god emperor, the human emperor. Could it be Zhan? Is it the same among the three of them in this generation? But why are there three of them? They felt that some of their guesses were valid. What about the sun god and the heaven emperor? In that era, these two monsters appeared. Even when the heaven emperor opened up his origin, the sun god was not at a disadvantage and almost turned the three realms into the world of the living. After that, the generation of the human emperor. The human emperor was not too outstanding, but was he really not outstanding? If he was not outstanding, could the human emperor rule over the human world? Could he become Zhan's teacher? Among the three emperors, the God Emperor and the East Emperor were both ancient martial artists with combat power of hundreds of millions. What about the human emperor? The more they thought about it, the more interesting they found it. But what was the situation with this generation? The human emperor Fang Ping, the martial emperor Zhang Tao, and now Qin Fengqing? They looked at each other. Hong Yu laughed. Qin Fengqing has not returned. Is it because there is bound to be a fight? Are you sure it's him? I'm not sure. Hong Yu laughed. But the possibility is very high. Of course, it's only one slash, and it's still hiding in the Forbidden Sea. It's hard to determine who it is. Maybe it's the sun god, or my father is diverting attention. He did not avoid this. The earthly emperor might be hiding too. If that was the case, it would be hard to determine who the attacker was. As they were chatting, the void suddenly shattered. Fang Ping sneered. You guys have some guts. How dare you chat here? Boom. Everyone broke through the void and fled. F***CK. They had almost forgotten about this devil. Who knew that this devil would come looking for trouble now? Everyone knew that they were the emperor's pawns. Was Fang Ping not afraid that the emperor would come to the three realms and kill him? Do you think I'm afraid? Fang Ping said loudly. As long as I spare your lives, those old tortoises won't come. I'll strip you naked, tie you up, string you up, and hang you on the feng shui list. Do you think the emperor will attack me? Those old tortoises can't wait for you to not cause trouble now. It's best if you're tied up. I'll let the three realms see how shameless you are. Can you run away? Godfather, it's time to work. Don't worry, I won't kill them. It'll be fine if they're tied up. Hee hee, ha ha. Heavenly King subduing laughter was heard. It was exceptionally wretched. Strip them naked and tie them up. It felt pretty good. As for those who were running away, their expressions changed drastically. If Fang Ping did not kill them, would the emperor stop him? The possibility was not high. If they were really caught by Fang Ping, they could forget about living. They could not afford to lose face. Strip them naked, tie them up, string them up, and hang them on the feng shui list. He might as well just be dead. No matter how shameful the emperor was, it would not be to this extent. If they were really treated like this, they should all die. Don't run. Fang Ping's sneer spread throughout the three realms. A bunch of trash. Why are you running? Monster Emperor, snatch Big Cat's fishing rod and return it yourself. Otherwise, I'll prepare a steamed fish head with diced hot red peppers for everyone. Monster Emperor did not say a word. He quickly shattered the void. Not only did he shatter the void, but the next moment, he dived directly into the sea. He was originally a powerhouse in the sea. The Forbidden Sea had the ability to isolate detection. It was not that easy for Fang Ping to find him. Fong Ping was not in a hurry. He said lightly, "It's okay. Your demon subordinates are still here. How can they all run away? Didn't you establish the demon court to protect the demons? I'll hold a 10,000 beast banquet later and invite Monster Emperor. Monster Emperor better come." Fong Ping. Monster Emperor's voice was ethereal, coming from the sea. "If you attack the demons, I will definitely attack the humans." "Is that so?" Fong Ping laughed wickedly. "Come on then. The humans are short of everything but broken 9. It's best if you come. I'll kill you directly. Stop talking nonsense. Return the fishing rod now. I'll consider not attacking the demon court." Monster Emperor was silent. After a moment, a staff shot out. Beast Emperor's staff. Fong Ping grabbed it and laughed heartily. "I asked you to cooperate with me properly. You're not happy. You even want to stop me from merging the 9 Emperor seals. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered to haggle with you on account that you helped me kill Tian Kuei." Fong Ping snorted. At this moment, on 9th heaven, someone said lightly, "Fong Ping, enough is enough." It was the Emperor's voice. Fong Ping looked up at the sky and laughed loudly. "You guys are so tolerant. Now, you want to make a move. Do you really think I don't know that you're all old turtles who can't hold back? Unless you're beheaded, you'll make a move? After enduring for tens of thousands of years, you can't take it anymore? If you want to kill me, be prepared. I don't think you'll come to kill me now. Let me calculate. You guys need at least some time to suppress the source and recover the injuries of the clones. Then plan and discuss which emperor will come. No, maybe it's 2. Let me think. Which 2 will come? You're as smart as a ghost. They probably won't come. Then we can only let the weak come. Emperor Nan, Emperor Shi, Beast Emperor, Spirit Emperor. The 4 of them are the weakest, but Spirit Emperor probably can't be bothered with you. After all, she's the Celestial Emperor's personal servant. You can't force her to come. Emperor Shi is the same as his son. They're afraid of death. He probably won't come even if he's beaten to death. Then it's Emperor Nan and Beast Emperor? Fong Ping laughed. Emperor Nan and Beast Emperor will come in a short period of time. They could probably only dispatch 2 emperors to descend. Or one of the god emperors, these 2, or the god emperors. I don't think the god emperors will come. These guys are more tolerant. Don't look at the heavy losses today. Don't think that I'm a threat, but earthly emperor and sun god haven't appeared yet. These people are going to compete with them. Can I, Fong Ping, break through 100 million combat power in a short time? I can't, right? Fong Ping laughed. If that's the case, of course it won't be them. It can only be those 2 idiots. Let them try. Be careful not to lose your life in the 3 realms. At this time, Fong Ping was extremely arrogant. So what if they're emperors? You plot against me, I plot against you. Maybe those 2 don't come to kill me, but to cooperate with me. They're so weak. How can they seize the seeds? How can they transcend? Their replacements are in my hands. Maybe they'll come and beg me. Fong Ping, let go of my substitutes. Let's cooperate. The weak join forces. Fong Ping's laughter shook the sky. Emperor, actually, you can also try to cooperate with me. Of course, if your target is old Zhang or me, then forget it. I'll kill you sooner or later. If it's not us humans, we can negotiate. Are you a match for the God Emperors and the others? I'm afraid I'm not a match for them. Otherwise, why would I endure until now? You can consider cooperating with me. I don't mind. Whichever emperor you want to kill, send him to the lower realm. You can stop those emperors, and I'll help you kill him. Sharp-tongued, the emperor laughed lightly. Fong Ping, after all, we've lived for so many years. There are some things that even if you have a glib tongue, it's useless. Glib tongue? Fong Ping sneered. I'm strong enough. Do I need it? When the time comes, you'll beg me to cooperate. If you don't believe me, just wait and see. On the human side, I, Heavenly King subduing, and Cat have all broken 9. God forging envoy, Tian Chen, and Heavenly Dog are almost there. A group of existences that have broken 9 can more or less be comparable to an emperor, right? I don't believe that no one will not be tempted. You people are selfish. Do you really care who is the enemy and who is on your side? As long as you can take advantage of it, you don't care about other people's lives. Fong Ping, others may cooperate. As for you, you're thinking too much. The emperor's laughter was calm and even a little teasing. You, Fong Ping, turned your back on us. One moment you cooperated, the next moment you killed. Do you think anyone will be willing to cooperate with you? You even killed those who cooperated with you. Do you really think we don't know your personality? How could they cooperate with Fong Ping? This guy's reputation was now completely ruined. If it was before, perhaps there would really be people who had this idea. But now, unless Fong Ping died, the emperors were not stupid. Why would they work with Fong Ping to ask a tiger for its skin? This guy was no less threatening than the emperors. Cooperation. At this moment, the powerhouses who were escaping felt inexplicable. The conversation between the emperor and Fong Ping was actually acknowledging Fong Ping's strength, acknowledging the strength of the human race. The human race was qualified to talk to the emperors because there were more and more human powerhouses, especially Fong Ping and Heavenly King Zhen, who had now broken 9. If it was not for Fong Ping's bad reputation, there might really be emperors who secretly cooperated with him. The emperor laughed again. Looking for you to cooperate, maybe before you even cooperate with them. You sold them out and made them the public enemy of the 9 emperors. Who would be so stupid to look for you? Slander. Fong Ping scolded. I'm not that kind of person. Don't slander me. Who doesn't benefit from cooperating with me now? Ask Luan, ask Sherpa. That's because I'm not a threat to you, isn't it? In the distance, Sherpa and Luan looked embarrassed. There was nothing wrong with it. Tian Chen, who was a threat, was probably eating dirt somewhere right now. The emperor said lightly, "It's time to stop. This time, we lost and underestimated you. But you keep pressuring us. I'm afraid you just want to gain more benefits. But do you think we will continue to give in? Don't be overjoyed. Right now, you guys don't have the right to completely fall out. Fong Ping, what do you think? Did they have the right to fall out? No. So even if the emperor said clearly that the powerhouses of the 3 realms were pawns, no one said anything at this time. If it was 8,000 years ago, the emperors might not have exposed their purpose. But now, everything was clear. At this time, no one was stupid. They had all guessed the emperor's purpose. At this time, the emperors also did not bother to hide anything. At this point, there was already no way out. The emperors did not, and the powerhouses of the 3 realms did not. Who would be willing to choose to retreat at this time? Fong Ping laughed, not feeling embarrassed at all. He laughed and said, "You're right, I'm strong on the outside, but I'm weak on the inside. I didn't expect you to see through me. Sorry. My acting was not good enough. At least I got the monster emperor's fishing rod. Next time, I'll try to act more realistically. But I'll be honest, we can really cooperate. Gee, you're not weak. If you cooperate with us, you'll have a chance to kill the Celestial Emperor and the others. Sun God has already secretly cooperated with us. The one who attacked previously was actually Sun God. If you stand on our side, I'll rope in the Earthly Emperor, Emperor West, and Emperor North. There's hope of winning. If we win, we'll look for the seeds together. Don't worry, if we really need to use human blood sacrifices to lure the seeds out, I'll use King Wu as a blood sacrifice. It won't be a big problem. King Wu cultivates the emperor path. When the time comes, I'll let him absorb the power of origin of all the powerhouses of the path of origins and gather it in the emperor path. This guy must be terrifyingly powerful. Using him as a blood sacrifice to lure the seeds out will definitely not be a problem. On the human side, some of the great paths are broken. Some people will probably die, but it won't be exterminated. King Wu will definitely not refuse. Otherwise, everyone will always want to exterminate the human race. Won't it be troublesome? King Wu will use his own death in exchange for human peace. I think he will definitely do it. You don't even need to kill him. How convenient is that? Fang Ping laughed. Do you think I'm sincere enough? In this way, the human race will be protected and King Wu will be sacrificed. I still have a chance to get the seeds, and so do you guys. I've already calculated this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have given the emperor path to King Wu. Human emperor, am I very awesome? The three realms were silent. Are you serious, or are you just messing with the emperor? But then again, it was really possible. At this moment, old Zhang also said in a clear voice, Emperor, if the emperor path absorbs the power of the human race, can it replace the entire human race? The emperor was speechless. He didn't know what to say. Could it be? Maybe it could be. The emperor path absorbs the power of the human race's origin and kills King Wu as a blood sacrifice. This is not much worse than sacrificing the human race, right? The most important thing is it really appropriate for you to ask? Fang Ping wants to sacrifice you, and you're asking, is King Wu out of his mind? The emperor was speechless. In the ninth heaven, Emperor East and Emperor of Heaven Reverse were also silent. Could it be? They thought it was possible. But soon, the emperor said, Fang Ping, if you are the seed, I'm afraid you and King Wu will have to be sacrificed. Are you willing to sacrifice yourself and King Wu to save the human race? If I am willing, the human race will not be destroyed. His voice spread across the three realms. The entire world heard the emperor's voice. Fang Ping burst into laughter. Me? Who am I? I'm the emperor. Sacrifice me to help billions. Go to hell. I'm not stupid. I can kill you, but you want me to sacrifice? You're thinking too much. Fang Ping cursed. Do you think I learned history for nothing? For nothing? Never watched TV series? If I put down my saber, more people will die tomorrow. I'd rather kill you. It's not a loss if you die, and it's a profit if you win. Giving you a King Wu is good enough. You want me to die as well? Dream on. There's nothing left for us to talk about. Just because of what you said, I will kill you. You are the emperor. Maybe using you as a blood sacrifice will have the same effect. Don't think the ninth emperor has never thought about it. You know it. If you didn't think about it, why did you pretend to be a coward for so many years? Now that the earthly sovereign has exposed your strength, and that guy is up to no good, he will kill you sooner or later. The emperor stopped talking. The ninth heaven closed instantly. Fang Ping, you have a sharp tongue. I can't be bothered with you. Go and say it yourself. Trash, you can't even beat me in cursing. Fang Ping scorned him for a while. From afar, Zhang Tao and the others flew over quickly. Zhang Tao glanced at Fang Ping. Next to him, Heavenly King Zhen egged him on. This kid has already said so. How can you tolerate it? Zhang Tao exhaled and said impatiently, I hope so. In this way, if I die, the human race won't have to go through a war and the crisis of extinction. That's also a good thing. Fang Ping chuckled. Don't worry. If you really want to exchange for the human race, I'll agree. No problem. But if your death is not enough, I won't agree to fill the hole for you. Then let the other humans fill it. So if you die, no one will protect the human race. It's up to you. Anyway, In the end, it might be enough without me. I don't care. Zhang Tao was speechless. He felt a little aggrieved and depressed. All right, Fang Ping's intention was clear. Either he killed the emperor or he lost the war. Everyone would be finished. It was impossible for him to surrender and wait to be captured. He would not exchange his life for it. In other words, Fang Ping did not believe those people at all. If they died and still could not lure out the seeds, would the human race be destroyed? It would. When that time came, the human race would really be powerless to resist. Fang Ping was reminding him now. It was okay for him to die, but if he died, the consequences might not be what he imagined. It might be worse. Kid, do you think I'm that stupid? Of course. Fang Ping said matter-of-factly, you're stupid. All day you think about sacrificing someone to save the human race. You don't even think about whether it's really possible. Only when fate is in your own hands can you rest assured. If you entrust your fate to others, you're just waiting for death. If you ask me to surrender, I won't do it. If you want to do it yourself, then do it yourself. You're a saint. I won't stop you, as long as you don't regret it when you die. Zhang Tao said sullenly, I'm not that stupid. Who would believe that? Fang Ping curled his lips. You've been pretending to be a leader and a saint all these years. You can't change it now. If it was in the past, you wouldn't be so stupid. But now, you're on the fire. Even you think that maybe my death alone can save billions of people, and that it's worth it. In reality, you've been hopelessly stupid. Zhang Tao smiled bitterly. Was that so? Why didn't I notice? Was I really as stupid as Fang Ping said? Fang Ping actually looked down on him. Fang Ping did not care about him. At this moment, he looked in the direction of the sea and shouted, Old Feng Yun, the Three Realms honor list is going to be rearranged. I must be in front of Old Feng Yun Zhen. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson. As he said that, Fang Ping scolded again. Put those hidden fellows on the list too. I don't believe you didn't notice that he cultivated the origin path. Let me see how strong he is, or are you playing tricks? Also, if it's convenient, give me a list of the substitutes chosen by the 9 emperors. You can also pass it to me privately. I won't ask if you're an earthly sovereign or a sun god. I can't be bothered. Anyway, if you want to establish a foothold in the 3 realms and don't want to expose your strength now, you'd better be polite to me. Do all my requests. Right, send me another set of information about the 9 emperors later. Let me see who can be roped in. I'll see if there's a chance to rope them in. You know them better. I don't know as much as you do. Oh, there's one more thing. Help me check if there's anyone else alive in the small world where the sun god was defeated. I seem to be from there. The sun god is considered my god of creation. You can talk to me about cooperation when you're free. His voice spread throughout the 3 realms. In the sea, someone's vital force was unstable. With a rumble, a part of the sea exploded. Could these words be said with such fanfare? Fang Ping was really throwing caution to the wind now. Beside Fang Ping, Heavenly King Zhen, and the others were also gritting their teeth. They looked at Fang Ping strangely. Were you giving up on yourself? You even asked Taoist Feng Yun to help you check your own identity. Wasn't this telling the entire 3 realms that there was something wrong with you? Fang Ping looked disapproving. He said it as if he did not say it, everyone would not know. I have something wrong with me. So what? Right, a reminder. I might be related to the person who destroyed the 3 emperors. The heaven-destroying emperor said that part of the power I used seemed to be from the 3 emperors. I've given you the clue. Look into it carefully. Rumble. At this moment, there was a turbulence in the 9th heaven, near the immortal origin. The 3 powerhouses' expressions suddenly turned strange. Fang Ping really dared to say it. Moreover, there were some secrets that they were not very clear about. Fong Ping actually dared to say it. P.S. Recently, there's an activity on Weibo. Follow Yuewen Eagle Eating Chicks and forward the Weibo for a lucky draw. The prize is a hat signed by J. Cho, black, not green. If you're interested, follow it. I don't care. Chapter 1417. Ha ha ha. Fong Ping laughed maniacally. The emperors in the 9 heavens and the Forbidden Sea had actually lost their composure. Loss of composure. What did this mean? This meant that they didn't know anything about him. But now they might know something. Who is behind me? Who provided him with the system? Perhaps these monarchs already had a guess in their hearts and had a candidate in mind. Fong Ping laughed heartily. Everyone, if you have any clues, you can tell me, lest I fall into that person's trap. If I'm his substitute, with how strong I am, wouldn't that person be able to escape directly? Everyone, take it easy. Whoever escapes first will have the upper hand. Be careful that you all die a horrible death in the end. In the 9 heavens, the emperor exhaled softly and regained his composure. His voice reverberated through the void. Fong Ping, the more you act like this, the faster you will die. You know that. They had to be wary of the mastermind behind the scenes. What about Fong Ping? They had to be dealt with. Otherwise, if someone else really succeeded, even the emperor would not have a good ending. What was an emperor? In the emperor's heart, they were all materials to fill a hole. I want to fill you up. You want to fill me up. Therefore, they were restraining each other. Was it true that the emperor god and the emperor of heaven reverse could not leave the origin ground? Was there really no way to descend into the 3 realms? In the past 8,000 years, they'd practically never appeared in the 3 realms. It wasn't that they couldn't, it was that they couldn't because others were keeping them in check. Therefore, Fong Ping had to resolve this. This fellow had already become a great threat. The emperor's voice was calm. There was no hint of anger or resentment in his voice. He only told Fong Ping in a flat tone, "We all understand what you mean. You want us to focus our attention on the person behind the scenes. But you forgot you are the weak one. Once you are killed, no matter how many schemes the mastermind has, it will all be useless because the chess piece was dead. Fong Ping, there are some things that you shouldn't say. If you do, the consequences, you might not be able to bear it." No one knew if the human emperor was advising him or just saying it casually, but that was the truth. He might not be able to kill the mastermind, but Fong Ping could. This time, no one was prepared. Next time, they would kill Fong Ping. Fong Ping threw his head back and laughed. "Can't afford it? What can't I bear? You're speaking as if you won't kill me if I don't tell you. Since that's the case, even if I'm suffering, none of you should think about having an easy time. You want to kill me? Since I've already said it out loud, will the person behind me protect me? Maybe to kill you?" The human emperor said calmly, "You have broken through 9. It is time to harvest." Fong Ping laughed heartily. "If it's an ordinary emperor who's plotting against me, now might be the time. But to be able to arrange such a powerful chess piece like me, I think he must be at least at the level of a god emperor, right? I've only just broken 9, and he's already anxious? It can't be. Perhaps he still wants to wait for me to become stronger. So if you want to kill me, he will definitely stop you. Don't tell me. The god emperor and I have a really good relationship. He even sent 3 clones to me. Could it be that he did it on purpose?" Fong Ping suddenly frowned and said, "Could it really be on purpose? He gave me a doppelganger, gave me qi and blood, gave me a divine armament, and even the Tao tree was his disciple. If not for the Tao tree, I would not have entered the mystic realm, would not have broken through to the 9th level, would not have obtained the Tao tree's sovereign core, and would not have fused with the 9 emperor seals." Fong Ping said in surprise, "The emperor god is really a child of wealth. He's letting me grow stronger on purpose, isn't he? The 9 heavens quieted down again. Silence was the worst. The quieter it was, the more problematic it was. Was it on purpose? At this moment, who could guarantee that it was not on purpose? Did Fong Ping's growth have a lot to do with the God Emperor? It was too much. Fong Ping's fastest improvement was in the mystic realm, and the mystic realm was opened by the Tao Tree, opened by Heavenly King Yi and the others. If it were not for this time, Fong Ping would have broken 7 at most. How could he break 9 so quickly? Fong Ping quickly ignored this and continued to laugh. Forget it, let him be. Gee, are we still fighting? If not, I'm going home. The Emperor did not reply. He was the only one who had come today. There were several people on Fong Ping's side who had broken 9. Fight. Actually, he was not in the mood to find trouble with Fong Ping. Fong Ping was a key figure. He could restrain a lot of things. The Emperor did not speak. This meant that the battle was over. Fong Ping could not judge the Emperor's mood and thoughts at this moment. The Emperor did not make a move. Instead, he was a little wary. The more tolerant he was, the bigger the plot. The Emperor was very tolerant. Fong Ping felt that the relationship between the emperors of the 3 realms might be more complicated than he thought. Beside him, Heavenly King Jin frowned and shook his head at Fong Ping. Say no more. The more he said, the more trouble he would be in. Kid, go back to the human world. Hurry. Heavenly King Jin transmitted, his tone a little urgent. It's a good thing that the Emperor is still in 9th heaven. The mastermind won't dare to attack you now, in case the Emperor finds out and cuts off his escape route. If the Emperor is not here, you kid will be in big trouble. You dare to say anything. If the Emperor was not in 9th heaven, Fong Ping's words just now, if the mastermind was Fong Yun, the current Fong Ping might be attacked. Fong Ping laughed. It's okay. Fong Yun is here. The Emperor is here. The Emperor of Heaven Reverse, the East Emperor's clone, and the powerhouses of the 3 realms are all listening. Unless that guy wants to kill everyone in the 3 realms, otherwise he won't attack me now. Since he dared to self-destruct, Fong Ping was prepared to face trouble. However, he did not care. Sometimes, an unknown enemy was more terrifying. If the enemy appeared, no matter how strong he was, he would not be so afraid. Now, the creator of the system had really appeared. Fong Ping felt more at ease. If the mastermind was not the Emperor and the others, they would definitely be watching him now. The mastermind would not dare to attack him now. On the one hand, it was not safe. On the other hand, he was afraid of slip-ups. The Emperor and Fong Yun had now become a means for Fong Ping to protect himself. They are watching me. Do you dare to show yourself? Of course, there was still danger, great danger. After the emperors went through this, in addition to eliminating the chess pieces of the mastermind, if they attacked again, it would be a thunderous blow. A real thunderous blow. This time, 10 of his clones had died, and he had lost 2 overgod artifacts. With such a powerful force, even Emperor Slayer had a certain degree of confidence, provided that arrangements were made. But now it was all gone. Then, the next time the 9 emperors had another plan, it would not be like this now. Just as Fong Ping said, at least 2 emperors would come in person. If they overestimated Fong Ping, it was possible that 3 emperors would come. Of course, it was also possible that they did not move, waited for the barrier to break, and all of them would come to the 3 realms. Fong Ping thought about it, but did not say anything. Soon, Fong Ping shouted, "Go to the catacombs." Having said that, Fong Ping broke through the air and flew quickly toward the catacombs. On the other side, Hong Yu and the others did not return to the catacombs. At this moment, they quickly gathered together, their expressions ugly. No one went back. No one dared to go back. Even if Fong Ping massacred the catacombs now, they would not go back. As long as they did not die, they did not care about anything else. However, Hong Kuan was still a little gloomy. He said in a low voice, "He is almost invincible in the three realms now. Unless the emperors appear, who can be his opponent? The plan to unify the three realms has been completely destroyed. Will Fong Ping take the opportunity to invade the land realm now?" Hong Yu thought about it, shook his head, and said, "Probably not. Although the human race's strength has skyrocketed recently, the land realm and the ocean are vast and boundless. Fong Ping does not dare to split his forces now, nor does he dare to disperse his people to different places. Isn't he afraid of being ambushed? Now, the human race was holed up on Earth, protected by the barrier. They could only come through the passageway, including ninth heaven. Emperors could not directly come to the mortal world. This was because the celestial realm wall existed in the mortal world. Therefore, if they wanted to enter the mortal world, they could only use those methods: go through the catacombs passageway or the Grandmaster's passageway. But now, other than the Dragon Change Sky, Grandmaster's passageway was still connected to the mortal world. The other Grandmasters, even if they allied with the human world, did not open the passageway to the mortal world. If they wanted to enter the mortal world, there were only those 107 passageways. The human race's security was very strict. Anyone who entered would be discovered very quickly. However, once the people were dispersed to the land realm and the ocean, the human race would lose their biggest protection. Fong Ping, Hong Yu sighed, his gaze complicated. Li Zhu sighed and said with some emotion, "The first time I met Fong Ping was in Sky Nursery City. That day, he confronted me in the palace with his rank 8 strength. He was audacious enough to shift the blame to someone else. He even framed me in the palace. What a pity! At that time, Fong Ping was already terrifyingly daring. Rank 8 strength. At that time, there were true kings in the city, and Fong Ping dared to enter the tiger's den, framing him in front of so many powerhouses, saying that he, Li Zhu, was the problem. At that time, Fong Ping impersonated Feng Yexing and almost caused chaos in Sky Plant City. And he, in a moment of hesitation, did not expose Fong Ping, did not kill him either. In the end, Fong Ping's rise was beyond his imagination. Everyone had actually heard about these things. Hong Kuan said impatiently, "If you had killed him that day, this wouldn't have happened." Li Zhu laughed. "It's hard to predict whether it's a blessing or a disaster. How can you say that it's a curse? Without him, King Kuan, do you think we really have a hope of getting rid of the emperors?" Li Zhu's attitude was not bad. He laughed. "Right now, the 9 emperors are not concerned about us, but him. Without him, we would be the 9 emperors' eyesores. Every move we make will be watched by the emperors. Without him, no matter how much we plot, we would still fall into the emperor's trap in the end. Whether Fong Ping is a curse or a blessing, it's very hard to say now. Was Fong Ping's existence definitely a bad thing? If that fellow did not think about killing them all the time, everyone would think that Fong Ping was the greatest good person in the world, an existence that sheltered them from the wind and rain. Unfortunately, that fellow wanted to kill them all the time. So now, disaster and blessing were intertwined. Whether it was a curse or a blessing, it all depended on the future." As he said that, he looked at Hong Yu and smiled. "Brother Yu, you even saved him once at the battlefield. Otherwise, he would not have survived until now. What do you think, Brother Yu?" That time, if not for Hong Yu, Fong Ping might not have been able to get help from Moon Spirit. However, Hong Yu still smiled and shook his head. "Even if I wasn't there that time, nothing would have happened to him. He is the hope of the human race. Actually, it can be seen from that time. Normally, Heavenly King Garrison might not save people. If it's Fong Ping, Heavenly King Garrison might help. In the past 8,000 years, Heavenly King Garrison almost never made a move, nor did he save anyone. But it was not absolute. Heavenly King Garrison had secretly saved King Wu. He was a prodigy of a generation, 1 in a billion. Even Heavenly King Garrison would not sit by and watch such an existence die. Therefore, even if he did not help Fong Ping previously, there was a high chance that Fong Ping would not die. Everyone did not speak anymore. All of them looked in the direction of the catacombs and fell into silence. Once upon a time, did they ever think that they would be forced to the point where they did not even dare to return to their lair? At this moment, everyone's hearts were incomparably complicated. The catacombs. Fong Ping stepped on the air, his demonic might unparalleled. 3 years ago, the catacombs were demons. 3 years later, Fong Ping was a demon. In the huge catacombs, powerhouses were currently trembling. Countless people were crawling on the ground, trembling, terrified, and uneasy. Regardless of whether they were below or above the true kings, they were all trembling at this moment. Fong Ping was too powerful. He was so powerful that if he wanted to, he could destroy the catacombs and annihilate these billions of living beings today. Fong Ping stepped on the air, his illusion covering the sky and the earth. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, his eyes filled with arrogance and murderous intent. He said coldly, "What are you all afraid of? Can I really annihilate tens of billions of living beings? Am I, Fong Ping, such a person? More than 10 billion living beings are like 10 billion ants. It's a sin to trample them to death. But killing a few billion doesn't seem like a big deal." Fong Ping chuckled. He said it casually, but at this moment, who knew how many people were so scared that they wet their pants? Killing a few billion was nothing. Did Fong Ping dare? He dared. Fong Ping's reputation as a demon was too strong. In order to smear Fong Ping's name, the catacombs often publicized Fong Ping's bloodthirst and violence. In the past, it was to give the catacombs martial artists the courage to fight against the humans. Today, it had fulfilled Fong Ping's reputation as a demon. This was a real demon. He dared. He had already committed countless murders in the Outland. A long time ago, Fong Ping had blown up the Outland's royal city. Millions of people in the city died a violent death. What rank was Fong Ping at that time? He was not even a high-ranked martial artist. During that time in Tiannan's catacombs, Fong Ping had blown up Rose City. This was not unknown. It had been spread a long time ago. You devil! Devil! In the vast catacombs, not everyone was a coward who was afraid of death. At this moment, someone leaped into the air, shouting loudly, "Devil! You want to massacre God's continent and annihilate the billions of living beings in God's continent. Aren't you afraid of being punished by heaven? There are children, women, and children here. You devil, aren't you afraid of being punished by heaven?" A blood-sobbing, angry roar. Fong Ping's expression was calm. Behind him, King Wu and the others had ugly expressions. Devil. Fong Ping was not a devil. King Wu said coldly, "When your catacombs invaded Earth, why didn't you stand up and say that you slaughtered the innocent? Now, you, the king of the catacombs, are unwilling to protect us and flee in the face of battle. Why didn't you say that a king is useless? In the past, your catacombs slaughtered human soldiers and civilians. How many prodigies died in your hands? They were also children. Hundreds of thousands of martial arts university students died in battle. They were all heroes of their generation. They were all in the prime of their lives. Why didn't you say that they shouldn't be killed?" King Wu scolded angrily. Martial arts universities. How old were the martial arts university students? The youngest was 17 or 18 years old. The oldest would not be more than 25 years old. They were all heroes. Some of them came from wealthy families. Some of them had powerful parents and many second generations. However, these people did not back down when they entered the catacombs battlefield. Every martial arts university student who died in battle was a huge loss. Moreover, a large number of soldiers died in battle. Most of them were ordinary people. At this moment, being scolded by the people of the catacombs, King Wu was also furious. Fang Ping did not care. He said lightly, "The winner is king and the loser is a bandit. The three realms is so realistic and so bloody. Why bother explaining?" Rumble. Vitality erupted. At this moment, all the martial artists who soared into the air, no matter where they were or how strong they were, exploded one after another. Fang Ping was not as aggrieved as Zhang Tao. Zhang Tao wanted to walk the path of sainthood and enlightenment. As for Fang Ping, he wanted to walk the path of tyranny. He wanted to walk the path of killing. Someone had to sing the praises. Fang Ping, should be the executioner. Why should he care about these things? Kneel properly. Whoever raises their head and stands up will die. Fang Ping's voice was calm. The real devil had arrived. He stepped on the air and walked all the way towards Sky Plant's royal court. All the martial artists who soared into the air exploded one after another. Not even a word was left behind. All the catacomb citizens who did not kneel were shaken into bloody foam. At this moment, billions of living beings were prostrating. In the huge catacombs, the birds were silent. It was extremely quiet. This was a devil. Stop crying. Behind him, Zhang Tao, Iron Head, and the others all had complicated expressions. There wasn't much excitement, only some emptiness. Fang Ping was a hero, the great hero of humanity. Today, they were regarded as a devil. Did they feel bad? A little. However, it seemed normal for the heroes of humanity and the devils of the catacombs. Since Fang Ping's debut, he had killed too many catacombs powerhouses. Beside him, Old Man Li's eyes flickered. He suddenly transmitted his voice to Zhang Tao. "If the last battle is won and you're still alive, the three realms will be unified. It doesn't matter if Fang Ping dies in battle or if he lives. He's a hero. If you dare to defame him and label him as a devil for the so-called unification, I'll kill you." Zhang Tao stared at him. Old Man Li stared at him too. "Unless I'm dead. Otherwise, don't you dare." For the unification of the three realms, someone had to stand up and take the blame. Who? Fang Ping, the most suitable and the only candidate. If he was a devil, then his actions were wrong. For the unification of the three realms, would Zhang Tao do it if he was alive? Probably. Old Man Li's emotions were complicated at the moment. If Fang Ping dared to label him as a devil, he would never agree to it if he did not die. Fang Ping had become a devil for the sake of humanity. It was the humans who forced him to this step. The three realms' greatest executioner. That won't happen. It won't. Zhang Tao's tone was complicated too. Soon he gritted his teeth and transmitted his voice. "Why do you think I'll do that? I protect the humans because they gave birth to me and raised me. The humans are my roots, my home. What is the catacombs? It's the enemy's lair, the devil's lair. If that day really comes, then we'll suppress it with iron and blood. How could what you said happen? If killing one person is not enough, then we'll massacre a city. If massacring a city is not enough, then we'll annihilate a country. Do you really think that I, Zhang Tao, am that kind person? That's for the best. I don't need you to teach me. You're not qualified. You bastard, you've been hanging around Fang Ping for some time. Have you forgotten my methods? Zhang Tao was furious. How could he talk to his grandfather like that? He even threatened his grandfather. This little bastard. Yes, a little bastard. Old man, Li was almost 30 years younger than him. When Zhang Tao was the minister, old man Li was still learning from the old vice-chancellor in MCMAU. Zhang Tao had seen him a few times and scolded him like a grandson. Now he wanted to rebel. The corner of old man Li's mouth twitched. He transmitted his voice and scolded, "Don't be arrogant. Do you think it's still the same as before? You're a broken 7-year-old. Keep a low profile. I just don't want to beat you up. Otherwise, I'll beat you until you pee." All right. Zhang Tao was exasperated. He transmitted his voice. "Do you really think I can't do anything to you? You gold-swallowing beast. If you hadn't swallowed too many resources, would you be standing in front of me and saying this? You didn't give them to me. I earned them myself. Don't you have any shame?" Old man Li was unconcerned. He transmitted his voice. "Why didn't I earn them? Didn't you earn them through investment? Fang Ping, this kid, used to have a hard time. I gave him a few vitality pills. Now he's repaying me. What's wrong with that?" Zhang Tao's head hurt. Gave him a few vitality pills. How dare you say that? How could it be hundreds of thousands? Now, you bastard, can the things you swallowed be calculated with money? If you really used money, it would be hundreds of trillions. The rate of return on your investment is really high. It's more than a few billion times. Old man Li said disdainfully, "I'm better than you. At least I invested before." At that time, he wasn't even a martial artist. You, on the other hand, went to the catacombs to make a fortune. You're the one who picked the peaches halfway. Shameless. Get lost. If it wasn't for me, he would have died in the catacombs. That's what you should do. You're the minister. He's a martial arts university student. Shouldn't you protect him? You're an instructor in MCMAU. Zhang Tao was exasperated. He realized that he could not win against this guy in an argument today. What was going on? He was good at talking. Li Changsheng, this guy, used to be so quiet. Why was he so talkative today? Old man Li was smug, speechless, right? At this moment, beside them, a cat was riding on the heavenly hound's head, sipping on a drink. When the two of them stopped talking, it asked curiously, "Why aren't you guys scolding anymore? It's so fun. Come and watch the show. I've even prepared the melon seeds." As it spoke, some melon seeds appeared in its paws. They were the sunflower seeds of Monster Sunflower. No one knew where the cat had gotten them from. In the past, Fang Ping treated them like a treasure. Now, the cat was just short of eating the melon seeds and watching the show. However, the two of them had died out. This made the cat very unhappy. Both of their expressions were dark. This stupid cat should be left to chew woo. Both of them were talking telepathically, and this cat was eavesdropping. Old Zhang's expression was also dark. He was an expert in eavesdropping. Now he was being eavesdropped by a cat, and he did not even realize it. How embarrassing. The few of them were making a ruckus. At this moment, Fang Ping, who was in front of them, had already walked to the sky above Sky Plant City. Fang Ping's aura shook the sky. He did not deliberately target anyone, nor did he deliberately spread out to kill people. He just stood there quietly, casually displaying it. At this moment, in Sky Plant City, no matter how strong the powerhouses were, they could not lift their heads under the pressure. As for Fang Ping, he looked around, ignoring those old acquaintances, and said loudly, "Where's Zhang Wu?" Behind him, Zhang Tao's expression changed slightly. The humans have already defeated the catacombs. There's no need to hide anymore. Senior Zhang Wu, today, Fang Ping is here on behalf of the humans to bring you home. Fang Ping, behind him, Zhang Tao's expression was complicated as he shouted. Fang Ping ignored him and shouted, Senior Zhang Wu, I'm the king of humans, the king of humans. Don't worry about anything. Although your father is my elder, right now, he doesn't have the final say in the humans. I have the final say in everything. If I say you can go home, you can go home. In Sky Plant City, countless people were shocked. What did he mean? A few of Fang Ping's old acquaintances exchanged glances with one another. There was Hua Yu, King Hua, and a few other true kings. At this moment, they were all shocked. The Zhang Wu that Fang Ping called out. Who was he? Zhang Wu seemed a little familiar. However, some time had passed. These people had already forgotten. At this moment, in the crowd, Hua Qidao, who was also kneeling on the ground, suddenly raised his head. His expression was complicated as he looked at Fang Ping and Zhang Tao. Zhang Tao's lips moved slightly, but he could not speak. Fang Ping had directly sealed him. Just like in the beginning, he did not give Fang Ping a chance to speak. Fang Ping said loudly, Zhang Wu, today I'll restore my true form. The son of King Wu, the hero of humanity, there's no need to carry the useless left martial title. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Hua Qidao stood up slowly, his expression becoming more and more complicated. Slowly, Hua Qidao changed. He was no longer as young, no longer as cold, and no longer as handsome as Hua Qidao. Very soon, a middle-aged martial artist with some vicissitudes of life appeared in front of everyone. Hua Qidao. No, Zhang Wu looked at Fang Ping, his tone extremely complicated as he said softly, I thought I would never be able to go back in this lifetime. Yes, on the day he came, he was already prepared. On the day his father sent him away, he said that in the future he would never come back. Today, someone came to fetch him. The human king. Not only the human king, but also the subduing heavenly king, his own father, King Wu, and many powerhouses of the human race had actually come to fetch him. Zhang Wu's expression was complicated. He was a little uncertain, a little in disbelief, a little uneasy, a little nervous, and a little excited. Can I go back? Fang Ping said loudly, Why can't I go back? Do you think I'm like your father who only cares about the race and not about the family? I am Fang Ping. Without a family, how can there be a country? Without a country, how can there be a race? What is the purpose of a human martial artist's life of war? To protect the family and defend the race. You, Zhang Wu, have contributed to the human race. Now, the human race is no longer afraid of the catacombs. Why do you still need to suffer in the catacombs? Go back. Today, I will celebrate for you. The son of King Wu. No, you are the human Zhang Wu. You don't need to care about what your father thinks. At this moment, Hua Yu and the others were stunned. Hua Qidao, the son of King Wu. He was actually the son of King Wu in disguise. And today, the human king had led the human race powerhouses into God's land just to welcome him. Behind Fang Ping, Zhang Tao's expression was complicated. After a long time, he suddenly broke into a smile. Perhaps this was also what he had hoped for, wasn't it? In the next moment, Zhang Tao smiled and nodded slightly. Below, Zhang Wu's expression was one of excitement. He suddenly shouted, Zhang Wu of the human race is willing to return. Home. Home. At this moment, Zhang Wu's eyes were brimming with tears. I can go home. As for Fang Ping, he also laughed out loud. His voice spread across the three realms as he shouted, Home. Zhang Wu has contributed to the human race. Today, we will celebrate the slaying of the emperor. Let's celebrate for Zhang Wu. Let's celebrate for the human race. In the next moment, in the crowd, Zhang Tao suddenly became excited. He shouted, Let's celebrate for Zhang Wu. Let's celebrate for the human race. Let's celebrate for Zhang Wu. Let's celebrate for the human race. An earth-shattering roar resounded. Wherever there was a human race, there would be roars. Excitement, excitement. At this moment, the human race roared out one after another. In this life, there were no regrets. As for Zhang Tao, his eyes were misty from smiling. My son is back. He has returned as a hero of the human race. Chapter 14:18. Zhang Wu had returned. Fang Ping suppressed the catacombs. No one dared to stop him. It was a symbol, a huge turning point. Mankind's greatest enemy, the catacombs, had been defeated by the humans. Before this, no matter how powerful the heavenly king suppressing king was, no matter how powerful Fang Ping was, no matter how powerful Martial King was, they were not even defeated in the catacombs. The catacombs gathered the divine sect, the demon court, and roped in Feng. All of these meant that they wanted to continue fighting against the human race. Today, however, many rank 8 martial artists watched helplessly as Fang Ping ran amok in the catacombs. None of them dared to return. Defeat, losing without a fight. However, Fang Ping did not stop there. He still couldn't forget what Zhang Tao had said. There will be a day of reckoning. The day of reckoning will come. Today, since he, Fang Ping, had picked up the butcher's knife, he would not give up just like that. The moment he received Zhang Wu's message, Fang Ping's voice reverberated in all directions. Every army of the human race, enter the catacombs and annihilate the outer realm. Avenge any enmity and avenge any grievances. Take revenge for this blood feud. The tens of millions of human souls shall be repaid by the catacombs 100, 1,000 times over. Kill. A loud roar resounded throughout the world. Fang Ping did not stop there. Settling accounts with the catacombs. Too many human children had died in battle in the 108 outer realms. Should he just let it go? Impossible. Too many people had died in battle in the catacombs. In just 3 short years, how many acquaintances had died? The old principal, Huang Jing, Elder Fan, Guosheng, Little Fatty, Jin Lei, Xie Ziwei, the Chun family's patriarch. Images appeared in Fang Ping's mind. Familiar faces appeared in front of him, one by one. The Battle of Tiannan, the Battle of Nanjiang, the Battle of Heaven Gate, the Battle of Demonic City, the Battle of King Battlefield, the Battle of Fake Heavenly Grave. How many people had died in these large-scale battles? Over the past 3 years, the battles had been endless, and countless people had been killed. However, there seemed to be fewer acquaintances around him. The number of senior grandmasters had also dwindled. He died in battle in a foreign land. How could Fang Ping let it go so easily? From today onwards, the humans would most likely focus on cultivation, waiting for the boundary wall to shatter, waiting for the arrival of the Great War. The battles with the catacombs would become fewer and fewer. How could Fang Ping give up on the idea of revenge? At this moment, a large number of cultivators were pouring in from every tunnel and every outer region. Teams of military martial artists set off and entered the catacombs. Magic Martial Army, National Guardian Army, Fallen Stars Army, Wuan Army, a large number of military martial artists had charged into the catacombs. At this moment, countless people's blood was boiling. The time for revenge had come. It was time to settle the score. The southern region, the newly promoted Legion commander, Chun Jiasheng, was in tears at this moment. The time for revenge had come. Chun families young and old, apart from him, had all died in battle in a foreign land. Today, the day of reckoning had arrived. East Forest Army, follow me. Chun Jiasheng gripped the twin hooks in his hands and led the tens of thousands of warriors. Like a raging bull, balls of blood hovering in the air, they charged rapidly towards the remaining royal cities of the southern domain. At this moment, the powerhouses of the catacombs were still in awe of Fang Ping. However, in the face of a life-and-death crisis, these people could not care less about Fang Ping. On the catacombs side, powerhouses quickly stepped forward, howling shrilly. Kill! 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 A deafening battle cry resounded. Blood, flesh, broken limbs, both sides collided rapidly. The great armies fought and killed each other. The catacomb side was in utter chaos. It was difficult for them to organize themselves, and they were completely unable to resist the humans. The human strength had increased tremendously. Now, the king of humans was holding the line, intimidating everyone. Many of the catacombs kings were now in the sea area. They dared not return. How could they fight with the humans? A great war broke out. Millions of martial artists charged and broke through the enemy lines, charging into the catacombs from all directions. Blood for blood. In the 100 years of war with the foreign lands, millions of soldiers and civilians had died. Today was the day to settle the score with the foreign lands. One by one, the powerhouses were bathed in blood and killing. Fang Ping saw MCMU powerhouses, martial arts university powerhouses, and those veteran grandmasters. At this moment, there was no sense of shame of bullying the weak. There was only the satisfaction of killing all the enemies and taking revenge. Many powerhouses were participating in the war. There were even emperors. Crushing. However, who dared to stop them? Who could stop them? Fang Ping even raised his middle finger at the sea area. Come and stop them if you have the guts. Help. Where's the king? The heavenly court has abandoned us. Li Zhu, you will die a horrible death. Hong Yu, we will wait for you underground. Mournful cries even spread to the sea area. At this moment, in the sea area, Li Zhu's face was slightly pale, his eyes slightly cloudy. He was the catacombs king. Yes, he was. The one and only king. Hong Yu and the others did not count. He was a native catacombs powerhouse. He was the Sky Plant's royal court's lord. He was the catacombs king. But now, he could only watch helplessly as the humans massacred the catacombs' martial artists. Yes, massacred. With Fang Ping in charge, the powerhouses did not dare to make a move. There were countless human powerhouses. How could they fight against them? Countless martial artists were killed. The foreign lands were dyed blood red. At this moment, someone broke through the air and arrived. Sky Fate, Royal Court's Lord, Ji Hong. At this moment, bathed in blood, he came and said mournfully, King Li, God's continent is about to be destroyed. King Li, are you really not willing to save us? Li Zhu's expression was complicated. Save? How could he save them? Seeing that everyone was silent, Ji Hong's face was full of despair. My father, King Ming, will fight for God's continent until the end. My birth father, Qi Huanyu, will fight for God's continent until the end. My Ji family was born in God's continent and will die in God's continent. Li Zhu, you're not as good as my father. Ji Hong roared. You're not as good as my father. Be it King Ming or Qi Huanyu, you're not as good as them. Ji Hong turned and flew back, his voice reverberating in all directions. Sky Fate Army, follow me to kill the enemy. Rumble. Army after army walked out of the restricted area. The humans were only massacring the foreign lands. They had not entered the restricted area. However, Ji Hong knew that it was only a matter of time. The foreign lands were also God's continent. If they did not fight today, God's continent would be completely destroyed. King Ming's entire life had been thinking of unifying the catacombs, leading the catacombs into the land of rebirth, and becoming the master of the three realms. Unfortunately, King Ming's ability was too weak. He was too inexperienced and knew too little. In the battle at the Land of War, he was killed by Fang Ping and Zhang Tao together. However, King Ming had been fighting his entire life. Sky Fate Royal Court also became the strongest force in the catacombs in the hands of King Ming. As for Li Zhu, what was he? He hid his ability until the end, but he was still an ant. Armor appeared on Ji Hong's body. Holding a long spear, he flew back to Imperial Sea Mountain quickly. Behind him, hundreds of thousands of troops gathered. Ji Hong roared, "Follow me to kill the enemy. Li Zhu does not deserve to be the king of God's continent. I, Sky Fate Royal Court, will betray the Heavenly Court today. Kill." Rumble. The armies set off. In front, the magic martial army attacked rapidly. The two armies confronted each other. In the blink of an eye, the absolute powerhouses attacked. Many. On the catacombs side, there were powerhouses too. In the Sky Fate army, Ji Yao was also there. At this moment, she was also wearing armor, holding a long sword, charging out. Ji family was not Li Zhu. Li Zhu, one of the three realms powerhouses. He was an emperor. He was a transcendent. As for the Ji family, it was to unify the catacombs. They were the king of the catacombs. Li Zhu, he was not. As soon as the two sides met, in the blink of an eye, a large number of corpses fell. Ji Yao and Ji Hong had already reached emperor rank. On the human side, there were many desperate realm powerhouses and a few emperor ranks. At this moment, the sound of killing shook the sky. Other places were massacres. Here, however, a fierce war broke out. Imperial Sea Mountain. Fang Ping had already arrived. At this moment, one by one, the human powerhouses looked over there. Zhang Tao sighed. The Ji family still has some hot-bloodedness. Even as enemies, it must be said that the Ji family still had some guts and hot-bloodedness. Li Zhu and the others did not dare to return. The Heavenly Court army holed up. In the end, Ji Hong betrayed the Heavenly Court and led the Heaven's Mandate Army out. The Heaven's Mandate Army was willing to follow the Ji family. This also proved that the Ji family had some ability. At this juncture, there were still hundreds of thousands of troops willing to follow the Ji family. In other places, the military martial artists had long been in chaos. However, the Heaven's Mandate Army still maintained its formation. At this moment, facing the humans' most elite magic martial army, although there were heavy casualties, they still had some power to fight back, causing some casualties. Fang Ping watched for a while, but did not intervene. Instead, he growled, "End the battle quickly. Surround the Heaven's Mandate Army. Since Princess Ji wants to walk the path of glory, I, Fang Ping, will fulfill your wish. Kill." In all directions, the major armies quickly slaughtered the defeated catacombs martial artists. Very soon, powerhouses from the major armies led troops to kill this side. Surround and kill the Heaven's Mandate Army. On the battlefield, only the Heaven's Mandate Army was worth fighting, worth killing. Even if they were enemies, they also admired powerhouses who fought alone until the last moment. From dawn to dusk, the battle continued. Magic City area, hundreds of thousands of Heaven's Mandate Army. At this moment, there were countless casualties. Less than 10,000 people were left, surrounded in the former Sky Gate City area. Ji Hong's armor had long been shattered, his spear broken. This Ji Hong, who was regarded as a useless lord, had exploded with unimaginable glory today. Li Zhu, Ji Hong, these two were often compared by others. Anyone would say that Ji Hong was not as good as Li Zhu. Ji Hong was only relying on Life King. Even Ji Hong himself thought so. He felt that he was not as good as Li Zhu, Life King, and even King Huai, but today no one said the same. Ji Hong looked around. There was only a pile of defeated soldiers left. Beside him, his daughter's hair was disheveled, a sword mark running through her face. One of her eyes was also stabbed blind in the battle. Ji Hong's hand trembled. He wanted to caress his daughter's face, but he put it down in disappointment. Ji Hong's eyes flashed with a complicated expression as he stared at the experts of the human race who were surrounding him from all directions. Even though he knew that he would definitely lose, he still led the Heavenly Mandate Army and killed his way out, sending the Heavenly Mandate Army and the Ji clan to their deaths. Yao, looking at his silent daughter, Ji Hong said in a hoarse voice, "Do you blame father? If the Ji family didn't participate in the battle, the human race might not attack them. This was because the Heaven's Mandate Royal Court didn't fight much with the human race. But he still attacked. If he didn't, the God continent would collapse. Martial artists wouldn't dare to cultivate, and military martial artists wouldn't dare to fight anymore. This wasn't the God continent. The God continent that deterred everyone. The powerful Heaven's Mandate Army that his father, Qi Huanyu, had single-handedly created would also become a useless army. So he killed his way out. But now, looking at his daughter, who was heavily injured but still standing guard by his side, Ji Hong suddenly wanted to cry. I'm indeed not as good as father and mentor you. At least when they were alive, they wouldn't be a burden to their descendants. Father, Ji Yao, whose face was pierced by a sword wound, was exceptionally calm. She revealed a not-so-pretty smile and said, Father Yao doesn't blame you, and I don't regret it. I want to be the only empress of the God continent. In the past, I've said it before, I want to have someone by my side when I fight on the battlefield until the very end. That day, when King Wu entered the domain and fought to the end, he still had someone by his side. I'm really envious. I don't like Li Zhu and the rest. So what if they're strong? How many people would be willing to follow me in a battle of life and death? But my Ji family does. Ji Yao's energy surged, and her aura exploded. Her voice echoed in the surroundings. Heaven's Mandate Army, are you willing to follow me and my daughter to fight to the death? Yes. A group of wounded soldiers roared out. The Ji family had treated them well. The Heaven's Mandate Royal Court was also the most peaceful and the safest of the 4 royal courts. Although Ji Hong wasn't strong, Qi Huanyu was good at commanding troops. Ji Hong trusted Qi Huanyu and had never mistreated him. Ji Yao was domineering when she was young, but after suffering setbacks, she entered the army to train and fought with them on the battlefield against the demon race. She was also a heroine. Now that they were out of the Forbidden Zone, they were prepared to die. All right, Ji Yao laughed at this moment, who said that women were inferior to men. Father, I'll follow you to kill the enemy. There are no cowards in the Ji family. Ha ha ha. Ji Hong laughed and shot out his broken spear. He roared, kill. On the other side, Wu Quishen's expression was cold and merciless as he roared, kill, kill everyone. The 2 sides quickly clashed. Rumble. Cultivators died in battle one after another. Severed limbs flew in all directions. The Heaven's Mandate Army, which had less than 10,000 people, kept decreasing. 3,000, 2,000, 1,000, an army of hundreds of thousands was reduced to less than 1,000 people. Yet they didn't collapse, shocking the 3 realms. This was something that only happened to the human race in the past. Today, the father and daughter of the Ji family led the Heaven's Mandate Army and fought in glory. In the catacombs, Li Zhu and the others were a disgrace, but the 2 emperor-level martial artists fought in glory on Mount Imperial Sea. At this moment, even the Heavenly King subduing sighed and said, the Ji family is a little unexpected. This Ji Hong was just a piece of trash in the past. No one took him seriously. Who would have thought that he would make such a choice? And that Ji Yao, who fought with you many times in the past, was domineering and hedonistic. Who would have thought that today a woman is not inferior to a man? These were words of praise, and the heavenly king subduing still praised them, even if the other party was an enemy. Even if the father and daughter of the Ji family caused quite a number of casualties to the human race. But on the battlefield, it was like this. The father and daughter of the Ji family were indeed worthy of their shock today. In the huge catacombs, there were tens of billions of living beings and a large number of heavenly kings. In the end, it was two emperor-level martial artists who led an army of hundreds of thousands that fought to the end with the human race. Li Zhu and the others, whether they were scheming or afraid. At this moment, the heavenly king subduing only wanted to say that none of them were men. So what if they died in battle? On the human side, they did it. On the other hand, on the side of the catacombs, they watched these elites die in battle, indifferent. Li Zhu might be a scheming hero, but today, in the eyes of the heavenly king subduing, he was definitely not a hero. If he was really a hero, he should stand up today and fight him, instead of sitting in the sea and watching the catacombs being slaughtered. Fang Ping did not say anything. He looked over there. At this moment, the father and daughter of the Ji family were already seriously injured. There were less than 100 people left in the Heaven's Mandate Army beside them, still fighting a bloody battle. Fang Ping suddenly stepped out into the air. Old Man Li raised his eyebrows slightly and transmitted his voice to Zhang Tao. He wants to save Ji Yao? Zhang Tao shook his head slightly. He was not sure. Still, he said, it's not impossible to save her. After today, I'm afraid that the catacombs will be completely disappointed in Li Zhu and the others. If they really want to conquer the catacombs in the future, the Ji family is a good candidate to suppress the catacombs. Old Man Li thought about it. Maybe, but he was a little reluctant. Of course, whatever Fang Ping did, he would listen. If he really wanted to save the father and daughter of the Ji family, it was not impossible. Bang! A self-explosion was heard. The last member of the Heaven's Mandate Army had self-destructed. At this moment, in the field, Ji Hong's bones were broken. His flesh and blood were all gone. His Tao had been burned to the end. It would be difficult for him to survive. As for Ji Yao, she was also seriously injured. Her Tao was shattered, her whole body bathed in blood. She supported Ji Hong, not letting him fall. Around them, Wu Quishan and the others looked at the surrounded father and daughter of the Ji family with a solemn expression. Although they were enemies, although this father and daughter had caused many casualties in MCMAU, Wu Quishan still had to say that the father and daughter of the Ji family were both heroes of the catacombs. Perhaps they had a strong desire for power and had always wanted to unify the catacombs. However, if the Ji family really unified the catacombs, perhaps the catacombs would have a better life. At least, when the country was destroyed, the king was willing to stand up and die for the country. King Lord Ji, Wu Quishan looked at Ji Hong and said softly, "Why do you have to stand up?" The Heaven's Mandate, royal court, was not the main target of the human race's revenge. The main target was still the Sky Plant's royal court. If Ji Hong really hid until the end, he might not die. However, today he might die without a doubt. Why? Ji Hong coughed up blood, propping up his body with the broken spear. He laughed and said, "I am the king of divine continent. My father is, and so am I. The Ji family is the master of the catacombs. How can we not fight? Today, cough, cough. If we don't fight, the people of divine continent will be scattered, and there will be no future. If we fight today, even if we die, there will be people who remember the Ji family. Just like you humans, There were times when you were suppressed. Everyone worked hard. Everyone was willing to die. That's why there is today. You human martyrs can die. The people of Divine Continent can too. Ji Hong panted. He did not look at Wu Quishan anymore. He looked at Ji Yao, his eyes revealing a hint of reluctance. Wu Quishan did not speak anymore. He led the powerhouses and slowly closed up. These two people could still self-destruct when they were on the verge of death. They did not move and did not die because they were waiting for them to surround them and self-destruct. Even when they were about to die, they wanted to drag someone down with them. However, this was destined to be impossible. On MCMAU's side, there were dozens of peak-level people. How could they be a match for the Emperor-level people? At this moment, the void fluctuated. Fang Ping walked over in the air. Seeing Fang Ping, Wu Quishan was slightly taken aback. Why was Fang Ping here? Looking at Ji Yao again, Wu Quishan was a little surprised. Was it because of this woman in the crowd? Chun Yunshi, who was covered in blood, could not help but look at Fang Ping. Fang Ping did not greet them. Instead, he looked at Ji Yao and said softly, "We meet again." Ji Yao was blind in one eye. The other eye was completely blood-red. At this moment, she looked at Fang Ping in a daze. When they first met, it was at the battlefield of the kings. Fang Ping brought Wang Jinyang and the others and stirred up a storm of blood at the battlefield of the kings. At that time, she got to know Fang Ping. Until now, she could not forget how ruthless this man was at that moment. He used her to threaten Feng Mieshing and the others, chopping off her arm and snatching her storage ring. After that, they met more and more. It was still at the battlefield of the kings. He pretended to be Feng Mieshing. Ji Yao was prepared to catch them all in one fell swoop. In the end, they joined forces to kill the other princes. She, Fang Ping, and Hua Yu worked together, all wanting to become the king of the clans. Now, Fang Ping had become the king. Hua Yu had long given up. She did not want to give up, but she also knew that it was already impossible. Her gaze was a little dazed. Ji Yao quickly regained her senses and sneered. "You want to see me make a fool of myself?" In the past, she was high and mighty. She had the three realms' #1 powerhouse, Fate King, as her grandfather. She had the Destiny Royal Court as her backing. She looked down on Fang Ping. Today, however, she was battered and exhausted like a beggar. Fang Ping, on the other hand, had long been high and mighty, comparable to the emperors. "You want to see me make a fool of myself?" Fang Ping said softly, "There's no need. Which powerhouse in the three realms is not a joke in my eyes. As for you, you are considered my old friend." Fang Ping looked at her. Beside her, Ji Hong's expression changed for a while. He coughed up blood and said, "Human King, I must die. I am also willing to die. However, if the humans keep Yao Er on the day of the humans' great victory, Yao Er can subdue her old subordinates. The Human King can make Yao Er the Queen of Divine Land. She will be the humans' puppet. This will allow Divine Land to integrate with the humans faster." He wanted to save his daughter. At the last moment, he could not bear to do so. It was fine if he died, but his daughter was still young. He did not want his daughter to die with him. Ji Yao, however, shouted in a low voice, "Father, I am not willing." Fang Ping interrupted her and said calmly, "I do not need these things. That is the Martial King's business, not mine. You have killed MCMAU's people. That makes you my enemy. I am here to send an old friend off." "Ji Yao, you and I have known each other for a long time. It is fate. A long time ago, I wanted to kill you, but in the end, I did not succeed or I gave up. Today, you are going to leave. I thought about it. Maybe you should still die in my hands. Killing you is not a disgrace to you." Ji Yao suddenly laughed. She looked at him and said slowly, "You want to kill me? Aren't you afraid of sullying your name as the human king?" She was already heavily injured, a heavily injured emperor level. In a situation where she was surrounded, she no longer had any strength to fight back. The human king wanted to kill her personally. Was he not afraid of being laughed at and criticized? Fang Ping said, "Seriously, I am the devil king, not the human king. You are my friend. I do not have many friends. If one dies, one less. Since it has come to this, I think I should send you off. Are you willing to die in the hands of others?" Ji Yao laughed again. A smile appeared on her ferocious face, but it looked especially charming. "You are right. I would rather die in your hands." Ji Yao laughed. She did not know why she laughed. Suddenly, she let go of Ji Hong's hand and took a step forward, then another step, slowly approaching Fang Ping. Fang Ping did not move, letting her walk in front of him. Ji Yao looked at him, then raised her head to look at him. Her gaze became more and more dazed. She laughed softly and said, Why aren't you from divine land?" Full of regret, indescribable regret. Why aren't you from divine land? Which girl does not yearn for love? The children of divine land love heroes too. Can you help me recover my looks? Ji Yao looked at him expectantly. Fang Ping nodded slightly. He stretched out his hand and gently touched her cheek. The scars disappeared quickly. Ji Yao reached out and touched her own cheek. Suddenly, she felt a little happy, a little excited, no longer lifeless. Fang Ping, she lifted her head and looked at Fang Ping. Her eyes revealed a hint of a smile. She said softly, "Do you know, when you became famous imperial ancestor and royal father said, maybe they could let you marry into the imperial court. I heard it. I quarreled with imperial ancestor, quarreled with royal father. I told them that even if I die, I am not willing, but I was secretly delighted for a while. It's a pity. Why aren't you from divine land?" Ji Yao's gaze gradually dimmed. She grabbed Fang Ping's hand. Gradually, her gaze completely dimmed. Fang Ping did not speak. He looked at Ji Yao, looked at the dead Ji Yao. No one knew what he was thinking. "You guys, why aren't you Earthlings?" Too many people had died in the war for more than 100 years. Hatred could not be resolved. Not far away, Ji Hong's tears of blood dripped from his eyes. He sensed that his daughter had left first. "Human King, I beg you, leave little Yao's corpse intact." Ji Hong laughed bitterly. The next moment, he turned to look at the restricted area. He could not see anymore. The tall imperial hill blocked his view. "I, Ji Hong, am the King of Destiny." Rumble! There was an explosion. There was no corpse left. Ji Hong had self-destructed. Clang, clang. A sorrowful cry reverberated in all directions. In the sky, a gorgeous phoenix was dancing, soaring, and crying sorrowfully. "Sister Yao, the phoenix sparrow is here." A young girl's voice rang out. It was joyful, joyful, and sorrowful. A dazzling fiery light bloomed in the sky. A phoenix was burning itself in the sky. Since no one was going to send her off, then let the phoenix sparrow do it. Chapter 14:19. Brilliant flames erupted in the air. It was a beautiful phoenix. It was exceptionally beautiful. That childish voice sounded like that of a neighbor's child. The Ji family's father and daughter had died in battle, along with hundreds of thousands of heavenly mandate soldiers. In the end, a phoenix and a demonic beast had come to send them off. He burned himself to tell the 3 realms that there were still people who remembered the Ji family. Was it tragic? Maybe. However, it was an enemy, a war between races. Ji Yao seemed to have fallen asleep in his arms. Fang Ping looked at the firelight in the sky, at Phoenix, at Ji Yao, and suddenly laughed. "Little Phoenix, come down and walk with Ji Yao." Clang, clang, cheerful cries rang out, and in the next moment there was a flash of fiery light. A beautiful feather, wreathed in flames, fell down like a hairpin and helped Ji Yao tie up her hair. Fong Ping blasted the void with a punch. He carried Ji Yao and waved his hand. In the void, the broken spear that Ji Hong left behind fell into his hand. Fong Ping placed the spear beside Ji Yao and looked at the pitch-black void in front of him. He said softly, "Your father, you, Phoenix Sparrow, let's go together." After placing Ji Yao into the void, Fong Ping closed the void. Ji Yao's body emitted a faint glow. It was Fong Ping's power, which allowed her to not be cut by the void cracks in the void. The rift closed up. They vanished into thin air. "War." Fong Ping suddenly looked at the sky and said coldly, "Where did war come from?" The celestial arch, the Yang God, the 9 sovereigns, and the emperor used the common people as chess pieces, and the 3 realms as a chessboard. If you don't die, the heavens will not tolerate it, and I, Fong Ping, will not tolerate it. This was war. It didn't matter if you loved him or not. It was just that cruel. Fong Ping let out a cold harumph, swiftly suppressing everything. Looking at the sounds of killing that were gradually fading in all directions, he bellowed, "Today, I've killed a strong enemy." As the saying goes, the heaven is worse than dog, sh*T. Li Zhu, open your dog eyes, and look, the 3 realms will not be like this forever. I hope you can wait until that day comes. I can see that day. Fong Ping's voice was icy cold. He let out a sneer and tore the void apart. In the next moment, the human powerhouses appeared at the entrance of the catacombs passageway. "Go home. Celebrate. As long as I, Fong Ping, am not dead, the catacombs will not be in chaos. Hongyu, listen up. If you mess up, you'll die." Fong Ping entered the passageway and returned to Earth. The army was still in the outland, but Fong Ping did not care. "Do you dare to make a move?" It was just that domineering. Right under your noses, killing in all directions, not even a single heavenly king. "Do you dare to make a move?" I wouldn't dare. On this day, the Demon King's demonic might was matchless. On this day, millions of martial artists were killed in the catacombs. Martial artist. This did not include the catacombs' ordinary people who were implicated. Too many people had died. Rivers of blood flowed. In the outskirts of the catacombs, there were no martial artists. A large number of martial artists fled. Some took the risk and headed for the Forbidden Sea. Some fled to Mount Royal Sea, and some charged into the Forbidden Inner Area. Chaos. The catacombs were in complete chaos. The Heavenly Mandate Army was annihilated, and the entire Ji family died in battle. The Destiny Royal Court was also in chaos. As for the Heavenly Court, not long after Fong Ping left, a glaive descended. The newly built Heavenly Court was shattered instantly. Tens of thousands of Heavenly Court troops, without any power to fight back, all of them exploded into pieces. The plans of Li Zhu, Hongyu, and the others were completely ruined. The catacombs were no longer peaceful and could never be unified. Countless people were utterly disappointed in these kings. This was the kings of the catacombs. The Ji family was also considered the real kings. At least when the Life King was alive, the catacombs were not in chaos. The catacombs war, the race war, the 100 years of war finally came to an end on this day. The outskirts that were fighting with the humans were almost completely annihilated this time. There were still some people who did not die. Fong Ping did not care. The war had only begun. It was not over yet. Could these people survive until the end? He felt that it was impossible. They would all die. The massacre had never stopped. On Earth, a celebration banquet was held. Rather than saying it was a celebration, it was more of a chance to cry and vent. This time, countless people were crying bitterly. They were sad, crying loudly. In the past 3 years, Fang Ping, Zhang Tao, and the others had done their best to protect the humans. While they were protecting the humans' heavenly king garrison, and the others were also contributing. However, in the past 3 years, just in Sino Nation alone, there were hundreds of thousands of soldiers and martial artists who died in battle. In the entire world, there were more than 1 million people in all the Holy Lands and countries combined. The war had been too frequent in the past 3 years. Even if Fang Ping and the others were at the forefront, they still could not stop the casualties. 1 million people, 1 million families, this was only in the past 3 years. In the early days of neo-martial arts, the casualties were also very heavy. In the middle period, when both sides were testing each other, there was a short period of peace. At that time, the casualties were not too high. In less than 100 years, millions of people had died in battle. Fang Ping could not resolve this kind of hatred. In less than 100 years, it was not enough for people to forget this hatred. Macmao. Fang Ping was lying on the rooftop of the school archives, drinking a little wine. He looked at the sky and pillowed the cat, looking somewhat relaxed. Bro. A sneaky laugh rang out. Fang Ping did not even turn his head. He crossed his legs, looked up at the starry sky, and laughed. What are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to stay at home? Bro, you won the war again. Mom and Dad asked me to come and see you. Fang Yuan laughed happily. She walked to Fang Ping's side and sat on the cat's head. The cat rolled its eyes. It was bad enough that a liar was using it as a pillow. Little Chubby Face was even worse. Ignoring her, the cat extended its neck a little, poked its head out, and continued to eat its dried fish. He had promised second cat and third cat that he would help them eat back. Now, the cat had to eat 12 meals a day. Otherwise, it would not count as 3 cats eating together. Fang Yuan giggled. She did not mind. She squeezed Fang Ping and said with a grin, Bro, why are you drinking? You didn't drink before. To me, there's no difference between alcohol and water. My mouth has no taste. Drinking some alcohol tastes better. Fang Yuan laughed again. Aren't you happy? Bro, you're amazing. This time, you even killed so many emperors and won the war. Seeing that Fang Ping did not speak, Fang Yuan said slyly, Is it because of that, Ji Yao? You brat. Fang Ping laughed. It has nothing to do with her. I'm just a little sad. Yes, sad. He did not even know who he was sad for. The 3 realms had been in chaos for so many years. Too many people had died. He could not get over it. This time, however, he was indeed a little sad. Were the catacombs the enemy? Of course. But were the catacombs the ultimate enemy? No. They were the emperors. They were the main culprits. If he did not kill them, how could the 3 realms be at peace? I thought you were unhappy because of her, Fang Yuan muttered. Fang Ping chuckled. Don't let your imagination run wild. The catacombs are our biggest enemy. Do you think your bro will do anything because of a woman? Not to mention that we're just friends. Speaking of which, it's not the first time I've wanted to kill her. It's just a pity. Yes, it was a pity. He was not too sad, but he felt that it was a pity. It was a pity that they were both born in this chaotic world. Otherwise, they could have been friends. Fang Ping did not talk about this. He smiled. How's Mom and Dad lately? They're fine, but you don't go home. Fang Yuan said, unhappily, you're already at the door. Why don't you go home? He was drinking here alone, but he did not go home. She was unhappy. Fang Ping smiled and said nothing. Go home? He did not really want to go home. It was not that he did not want to see them, but He was afraid that he would be even more reluctant to see them. People, after not seeing each other for a long time, their feelings would fade. They saw each other every day. If one day his parents lost their son, would they not be heartbroken? It was good now. Fang Yuan was at home, and his parents had company. It was good. If he passed away one day, he would not be too sad. As he thought about this, Fang Ping smiled. Do you think I'm very free? Am I drinking? I'm thinking about things and cultivating. I don't have that much free time. Tell Mom and Dad not to worry about me. Who in the 3 realms is not afraid of me now? What can happen to me? But I have too many things to do now. When I get rid of the enemy, I'll stay at home all the time. It's good to be at home. The cat suddenly interrupted, muttering, You can eat regularly at home when it's mealtime. Now, you don't eat regularly at all. I think it's going to hurt your stomach. Bang! Fang Ping slapped its head. If you say this again, I'll hammer you to death. Whose cat's 9 points would hurt their stomach? Whose family had 9 points and needed to eat 12 meals a day? Others might not even be able to eat 12 meals in 1,000 years, but you have to eat 12 meals a day. I give up. Fang Yuan was grinning from ear to ear. She grabbed the cat's tail and played with it. Brother, can you defeat those emperors? Of course. Really? Nonsense. Have I ever boasted before? Fang Ping said exasperatedly. When have I, your brother, not won every battle? Tell me, in the past 3 years, have I, your brother, ever lost? Fang Yuan nodded hurriedly. Yes, winning every battle. That was Fang Ping. That was the king of man. Though she believed him, Fang Yuan was still a little worried. Her voice became softer as she whispered, Brother, say, Fang Ping waited for a long time, but did not hear what she was going to say. He tilted his head and asked curiously, Say what? Fang Yuan scrunched up her face. She was a little hesitant and uneasy. After a while, she said in a low voice, Brother, do you think it's possible to negotiate with the emperors? You said before that Minister Zhang. Bastard. Fang Ping barked coldly. He said angrily, Don't blame me for beating you up if you talk nonsense again. Fang Yuan bit her lip so hard that it bled. Tears streamed down her cheeks. I'm scared. Mom and Dad are scared too. They often cry at night. Every time you leave, they will cry and suffer from insomnia. Brother, I know I'm selfish, but I don't want to be without you. Mom and Dad don't want to be without you either. Brother, Fang Yuan choked. Lilia, her father passed away. Fang Ping's expression darkened. He knew who Fang Yuan was talking about. Songya, Fang Yuan's classmate. Songya's father. Song Yingji. Fang Ping's lips trembled slightly. Song Yingji. Yes, the teacher who had argued for a long time because Fang Ping had to charge him 1 credit as a processing fee when he checked out of the cultivation room. When Fang Ping was stronger than him and knew how to change his aura, he had even impersonated Qin Fengqing and knocked his head. Since then, Fang Ping had been asking him for money and threatening to make him clean the toilet if he did not pay up. Song Yingji was so angry that he decided to hide in the catacombs and never come out. Scenes of the past flashed through Fang Ping's mind. He quickly suppressed his sorrow and yelled, There's no martial artist who doesn't die in battle. Besides, I'm much stronger than Teacher Song. What are you thinking about? All day. Brother, Fang Yuan's tears streamed down her cheeks. She choked. I know I shouldn't think like this, but I'm really scared. I wasn't afraid before, but Teacher Song left and Teacher Bai is crippled. I'm scared. I'm scared that the next time I hear from you will be, Brother, I'm really scared. I don't want to practice martial arts anymore. I regret it. I regret not stopping you when you wanted to practice martial arts. Brother, I want to go back to Sun City. Back to the old house, back to the days when you cheated me of my food money every day. Brother, I'll give them all to you, okay? I won't steal snacks anymore. Our family will stay in Sun City. Fong Ping was in a trance. Was it a long time? Not long. It was only a little more than 3 years. Cheating her of her food money. He seemed to have done it before, right? For the sake of going online, Fong Ping often cheated the girl of her food money. Then, the two of them could fill their stomachs with rice at home. The little money grubber was very money grubber, but she was also very stupid. Fong Ping managed to cheat her every time. He succeeded every time. Every time. The girl would only realize it later and complain to her parents, saying that Fong Ping had cheated her again. Fong Ping seemed to have written her many IOUs. Every time, she promised to return them, but she always forgot. He remembered the first time he gave her money, she used it all to buy snacks. She even secretly shared half of it with him, so that he would not complain. At that time, the days were hard, but they seemed happy. They had never eaten at McDonald's or bought KFC. They always felt that those places were not for them. They were too wasteful, too extravagant. Fong Ping fell silent. Fong Yuan choked. I know you won't agree to it. But I just want to say, brother, why do they have to make you fight? You've only cultivated for 3 years. You're only 21 years old. You haven't even married or had kids. Do you remember when the evil sect wanted to kill you during the New Year? I was scared then. I was scared that I wouldn't be able to see you again. Brother, Mom and Dad are coming to Magic City. I want to come to Magic City too. I just don't want you to lose your home. But now, Fong Ping said calmly, the country has fallen. Even if I return to Sun City, I won't be able to enjoy peace. Girl, peace is achieved by killing. Since I, your brother, have the ability, then I should kill to achieve peace. If I don't go and you don't go, how long can this prosperous era last? You've grown up. Don't be so childish. Old Zhang. So what if I give him to the emperor? I still have to fight and kill. Old Zhang isn't the key. The key is me, your brother. If I don't die, the emperor won't be at ease. I know, sob sob. Fang Yuan knew. She was not stupid. She knew how powerful and terrifying her brother was. But she also knew that the more powerful he was, the more likely her brother would die when the war started. They all wanted to kill him, but she was too afraid. She did not want Fong Ping to die. Killing the emperor? If it was just one person, Fang Yuan might not be so afraid. But there were so many of them. The 9 emperors were alive. The celestial emperor was alive. The sun god was alive. The celestial emperor was alive. Her brother was alone. How could he kill them? More than 100 million vitality. She dared not imagine it. Fang Yuan was choking. The ash cat's tail brushed her cheek, as if comforting her. On one side of the rooftop, Zhang Tao had appeared out of nowhere. He sat on the edge of the rooftop and chuckled. He teased, "Fat girl, doesn't your conscience hurt when you sell me out?" Fang Yuan blushed, but she could not help saying, "But my brother is still young. He has been fighting in the catacombs since he was 18 years old. He has never stopped. He has never enjoyed anything, even for you. I heard that you only fought in the catacombs after you were 20 years old. What about my brother? He's younger than your grandson. You have a son and a daughter, and many grandchildren." Zhang Tao was stunned. His smile faded. He sighed softly, speechless. Yes, he was too young. He was young. He had almost forgotten. Fong Ping darted him a look and said impatiently, "Now you know how to sigh? When you schemed against me, I didn't see you soften at all." "Who schemed against you?" Zhang Tao refused to admit it. Fong Ping humphed. "Forget it. If it wasn't for your interference during the Magic City battle and Dean Huang didn't die, I wouldn't have taken over MCMU's commanding authority. I wouldn't have launched the Magic City battle at that time. This time, I've fallen into your trap. I can't leave even if I wanted to. Don't accuse me wrongly, Zhang Tao said gloomily. I really miscalculated that time. How can I be the one who schemed against you? You're slandering me out of thin air. Am I shameless? It's fine if you say that here. If you say it outside, people will think that I deliberately caused old Huang to die. Shameless? Fang Ping said disdainfully. Shameless? Forget it. Forget it. I can't be bothered to argue with you. Even if you didn't do it on purpose, you must have wanted me to suffer a huge loss. Then I'll behave myself, take over your baton, and inherit your position as minister. Anyway, after you've hatched this idea, I've been unlucky. I can't even escape now. You make it sound like you won't cause trouble if I don't let you take over my baton. Zhang Tao was speechless. Then he laughed. But your fat girl is right. You're too young. How about this? Before the war breaks out, hurry up and get married. See if you can have a child. I'll think of a way to send him away and leave you a descendant. Even if an emperor kills people, can he really destroy the 3 realms? If that doesn't work, we can send him to the catacombs. What do you think? Scram! Fang Ping flew into a rage out of humiliation and glared at him. Beside him, Fang Yuan's eyes lit up. She stared at Fang Ping with a burning gaze. Fang Ping's expression darkened. Suddenly, he reached out and pulled her cheek into a long line. What's a child looking at when adults are talking? Zhang Tao could not help but laugh when he saw this. He teased, Fat girl, it's all your brother's fault that you're fat. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't tolerate it. I'd cultivate to the emperor realm quickly and beat him up 3 times a day. Fang Yuan stuck her tongue out at him and said vaguely, I'm not fat. I said bad things about you just now. You kept calling me fat girl. We'll call it a draw. You're not allowed to hold a grudge or take revenge on my brother. Otherwise, I'll go to school and beat up Zhang Shui and Zhang En. Ha ha ha. Old Zhang burst into laughter. You and your brother are made from the same mold. This bastard has taken revenge on them many times in the past. As he said that, he laughed. I won't hold a grudge or take revenge. Don't worry, I won't be able to take revenge even if I wanted to. If you really kill me, you'll be able to bring peace to the human race. Sigh. Shaking his head, old Zhang sighed. That was impossible. Otherwise, it would be worth it to trade himself for the human race. Naturally, he understood that Fang Yuan did not want anything to happen to Fang Ping. As for what she said earlier, it was all because she listened to Fang Ping's propaganda in the 3 realms. Otherwise, the girl would not have mentioned it. Fang Ping let Fang Yuan go. He patted her head and smiled. Go home quickly and rest early. When you're free, go beat up Zhang Shui and the rest. Don't talk nonsense with those old fellows. In a few days, after we've killed those emperors, I'll be free. I'll supervise your martial arts practice. Look at you now. Brother, Fang Yuan pouted. I've already worked very hard, but I don't know what fat cat taught me. Until now, my origin path has yet to appear. Fang Ping could not help but laugh. What cultivation method? A beginner martial cultivation method. Where would you go to cultivate your origin path? Naturally, Fang Ping knew, but he did not care about this. It was quite good. Her origin path was severely flawed. Cultivating beginner martial arts was actually quite good. As for the cat that was mentioned, it was currently playing dead. Not this cat. This cat was illiterate. How could it teach people cultivation methods? Slander. A cat would not teach people. Go home and cultivate well. Don't worry about me. Nothing will happen to me. Don't worry. If there's any danger, I'll throw Fat Cat in front. Only when it's killed can it kill me. Don't worry. Meow. The cat looked aggrieved. It was bullying another cat. After Fong Ping sent Fang Yuan away, he looked at old Zhang and said with a smile, "Tell me, what's the matter? Why haven't you changed your hobby of eavesdropping?" Old Zhang was speechless. "I'm here to ask you for something." "Who's eavesdropping?" As he said that, he quickly said, "First, I want the Emperor God's avatar's flesh. Second, I want one of the Emperor God's and Emperor Heaven Reverse's weapons. Third, if you want to go to the source ground, bring me along. I want to go too. Fourth, make some arrangements. Your sister." "Your sister?" Fong Ping rolled his eyes. Who was he scolding? "Get lost," Zhang Tao scolded. "What are you interrupting for?" "Your sister, as well as some young people, gather together. The plan to escape through the starry sky back then has failed. Now, I have discussed it with old Ghostchen. The God creation envoy has a divine artifact that can survive in the crevice of space like the skies beyond. Later, get this divine artifact, send people in, cut open the void, and exiled them, live 1 year at a time. There are too many void cracks. Even if it's a sovereign, can they tear open the cracks one by one to find them? We're too strong and can't hide. Your sister and the others can still do it. There doesn't need to be too many people. About 1,000 people will do. Leave a seed." Fong Ping closed his eyes. After a long time, he opened them and said, "I'll listen to you." Both of them looked at each other and said nothing more. The plan to leave a seed also meant that both of them did not have the confidence to survive this. At the same time, it also meant that the Great War was coming. At this moment, the previous great victory had become a thing of the past. The catacombs and the Emperor's avatar were not the key. The key was still the Emperor himself. That was a threat. The pressure of the Great War made it hard for both of them to breathe. Old Zhang wanted almost everything, all the spoils of war. Fong Ping knew what he meant. When the Great War came, the martial king would not be a spectator. He wanted to participate in the war. Fong Ping did not refuse. It would be strange if old Zhang did not participate in the war and was a spectator. Even without these things, he would definitely participate in the war. If he participated in the war between emperors, he might as well become stronger. Chapter 1420, Global High Martial Arts Update, will be delayed. Currently in the middle of typing. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 1421. The others were still celebrating, but Fong Ping and Zhang Tao had no time to do so. They had to seize every second to become stronger. Zhang Tao wanted the Emperor God's avatar and a divine weapon. He wanted to strengthen himself. Fong Ping wanted to strengthen himself too. This time, he had gained a lot, but old Zhang took a lot. In the end, Fong Ping only left behind a Heaven Reverse Emperor's divine weapon and the mentality crystal of the Beast Emperor's avatar that he killed in a surprise attack. The other Emperor avatars, seeing how powerful Fong Ping was, would not leave anything good for Fong Ping before they died. This time, other than these, Fong Ping had also obtained a divine weapon. The flying carpet that sealed the void was also a huge gain. Old Zhang took the other benefits, but did not leave. Instead, he asked in a low voice, was it Qin Feng Qing who slashed at the Forbidden Sea? Probably. Fong Ping was not too sure. He replied, it could also be someone else who did it to confuse the public. After all, I'm not the only one who wants to weaken the Emperor God. The emperors also want the Emperor God to be weaker. Having said that, Fong Ping added, but the possibility of it being him is not small. How can he be so powerful? Is it because of the seed? If it's him, then it must be because of the seed. Zhang Tao's expression changed. Since he can find the seed, and the emperors of the three realms are all here for the seed, then let him tell them the seed's location. We can move the humans away in advance. If the emperors want the seed, then they will have to get it themselves. Zhang Tao felt that maybe this was also a way to solve the crisis. If that person was Qin Fengqing, then he was abnormally powerful. Maybe it was really the seed that caused it. A seed illusion had made the powerhouses of the three realms much stronger. The Tao tree and the boy servant had broken through 9 levels, and even the spirit emperor's avatar had broken through 9 levels. If Qin Fengqing could find the real seed and break through 9 levels, then it was acceptable. Fang Ping shook his head. Not likely. If he could say it, I'm afraid he would have said it. But since he hid from us and refused to show up, we don't know where it is either. After all, the seed may have other means. Or he knows where the seed is, but can't say it. There's another possibility. He may be closely related to the seed. If the seed is gone, he may die. If so, this guy may not tell everyone where the seed is. Zhang Tao fell silent. Actually, he knew that the chances were not high. Otherwise, if Qin Fengqing really made a move today, he would have shown himself. But he didn't. Obviously, Qin Fengqing didn't want to come into contact with them now. Taking a deep breath, Zhang Tao quickly smiled and said, since he is willing to help, it means that he is helping the human race. In that case, having one more person to help is a good thing. There was no need to force it. At least it was better than before. At least it proved that this fellow was willing to help. Even if it was to weaken the God Emperor to save himself or to save the seeds, it was still a good thing. Fang Ping nodded. He was not asking for anything. He had not included Qin Fengqing in his preparations for the great battle. This fellow's help was a pleasant surprise. If he did not help, as long as he did not cause trouble, Fang Ping could pretend that he did not exist. Very quickly, Fang Ping asked, has Taoist Fengyan sent the materials over? Zhang Tao rolled his eyes. What was he thinking? Do you really think he's your son? Do you think I'll do it just because you want me to? Fang Ping said with absolute certainty. Don't worry. If this guy is the earthly sovereign, then he'll make things difficult for others. Whether it's to ruin other people's plans or to seek revenge, he'll tell us. Get someone to keep an eye on the catacombs. We might receive news soon. Also, this time you guys, Fang Ping did not know that they had other plans. Later, he heard from Heavenly King, subduing that they went up to 9th heaven and secretly destroyed the immortal source's control over their own Tao. Fang Ping did not know if they succeeded. Old Zhang smiled and nodded slightly. However, he quickly transmitted his voice. The God Creation Envoy did leave a secret door for the immortal source. However, the situation was tense at that time. The God Emperor and Donghuang's divine weapons arrived very quickly. If not for someone secretly restraining the Donghuang divine weapon, we would not have had a chance to succeed. However, there are not many people. The God Creation Envoy replaced his, mine, and Li Zhen's Tao. Now, our Tao is not out of the control of the immortal source. After all, it's easy to attract the attention of the Emperor. When needed, we can quickly pass off the fake as the real one. Fang Ping suddenly heaved a sigh of relief. That was good. The immortal source was a huge hidden danger. Now that it controlled almost all the Tao in the three realms, it was too easy for problems to occur. If the problem of being controlled was not solved, even if you broke 9 and proved your Tao, you might not be able to get rid of the control. At that time, the Tao would become a sharp weapon that would bite back at you. The two of them talked for a while. Zhang Tao finally said, if you go to the source, you must inform me. Also, Yao Qingjun has not appeared until now. I don't know if there is a problem. I'll get someone to look around and get him to return as soon as possible. Yao Qingjun had also been out for a long time. There was some news before, but there was no news at all recently. He did not know if something had happened. Otherwise, the conversation between Fang Ping and the emperor during the Great War of the Three Realms was huge. With such a huge commotion, he should have rushed back. Fang Ping nodded. Get someone to look for him. Also, I'm going to walk around Earth again in the next few days. Taking advantage of this great victory, there might be benefits. Let's see if we can integrate some more cities. Also, get the God Creation Envoy to prepare. I'll go find him in 2 days and get him to help me fuse the divine weapon. All right, be careful. Fang Ping exhaled and said, at this time, the calmer the wind and the more terrifying it is. This time, if someone were to descend again, it would definitely be the Emperor's true body. It would be fine if they were to descend with great fanfare. He was afraid that these guys would descend in secret. Walking through the Forbidden Sea area might not cause too much of a commotion. If they were to sneak into Earth, then there would be big trouble. Get someone to keep an eye on the Forbidden Sea. Once there is any movement, report immediately. If an individual emperor descends, we may not be afraid of them. However, if we are targeted one by one and defeated one by one, then it will be a huge problem. Don't worry, I have arrangements for this. After the two of them finished talking, Zhang Tao got up and was about to leave. Before he left, he thought for a while and suddenly turned his head. I still have to thank you. Otherwise, Zhang Wu would not have been able to return. Star Polaris didn't say anything. It's because of you. Otherwise, I'm afraid they wouldn't have let it go so easily. Fang Ping laughed. The seniors in Star Polaris are still reasonable. As for those young people, they might not know much. It's fine even if they know. What do these people know? That's right. Zhang Tao did not deny this at this moment. He laughed and said, that's why everyone is reasonable. They know who you are killing countless for. Don't care about some rumors. Those who know won't think that you are killing for the sake of killing. Those who don't know, that means they don't have the right to know. It's fine if these kinds of people say a few words, but if they dare to have other thoughts, it's not like the humans can't point their knives at these people. Don't worry, I will make arrangements. Let's not talk about whether we can win now. Even if we are sure, it's not to the point where we will scatter and cook the dogs. Then they will have to cook me first. Fang Ping laughed. I don't really care about these things. At most, I'll just feel bad. These people are, at most, ruining my reputation. What else can they do? The key is, what do I want a reputation for? Do I really want to be the Holy Lord? You brat. Zhang Tao could not help but laugh. He waved his hand and said no more, leaving quickly. After Zhang Tao left, no one came to look for Fang Ping. They all knew that Fang Ping was very busy now. They knew that he had a lot of things to do. No one would disturb him at this time. Fang Ping also stopped letting his imagination run wild. He quickly disappeared from MCMAU and began the next stage of strengthening himself. Absorb the Beast Emperor's mentality crystallization, strengthen himself, continue to integrate the city, and expand the origin. This was Fang Ping's current plan. First, strengthen himself. Then, through Wang Ruobing and the others, enter the origin and see if he could improve himself again. In the next few days, very few people knew what Fang Ping was doing. However, Heavenly King Zhen and the others knew that in these few days, some cities on Earth had experienced some tremors. Many people thought that it was caused by Earth's recovery. Previously, when the seed projection overflowed with vitality, there were tremors in many places recently. Not many people cared about these. some people became stronger out of nowhere. They thought that it was because of the seed. However, some people also guessed something. This was very similar to Fong Ping's integration of Magic City and Sun City. Fong Ping continued on the path of integration. He defeated the catacombs, killed countless catacombs martial artists, and took revenge. Now, the humans' recognition of Fong Ping was even higher. Under such circumstances, in addition to some publicity arranged by Zhang Tao, Fong Ping's integration was even easier. On Earth, Fong Ping was integrating the 4 cities to strengthen himself. At the same time, the catacombs was in chaos. In the Divine Sect Basilica, the few broken eights had been silent for a long time. Following the complete defeat of the outer region, the Ji family's Destiny Army had all died in battle. The catacombs' recognition of powerhouses like them had suddenly decreased by countless times. Although they dared not resist these powerhouses, they no longer had the feeling of having someone to rely on when the heavenly court was established. Today, some catacombs citizens did not say anything. They did not dare to show any abnormalities. However, many people had secretly erected a monument for the Ji family in their homes. Now, they were praying that the Ji family's heroic spirits could protect them. They would rather believe in the dead than believe that the heavenly court's powerhouses could protect them and give them a sense of security. As for the Ji family, before Ji Hong died, he had betrayed the heavenly court. In the basilica, everyone was like stone statues. After an unknown amount of time, Hong Kuan said slowly, Fong Ping has broken through 9 levels. Song Mao has broken through 9 levels. Heavenly Guardian King has broken through 9 levels. The humans are becoming stronger. This is a good thing, but also a bad thing. Right now, I don't care how strong the humans are. I'm more concerned about, is Taoist Fengyan my father? He looked at Hong Yu. Hong Yu looked helpless. He said softly, Taoist Fengyan has been in your divine sect for thousands of years. Don't you know? He felt that Hong Kuan's question was a slap in the face. What could we know? You should be the one who knows. Taoist Fengyan had been in the divine sect for a long time. He was the divine sect's guardian. The demon emperor frowned. Hong Kuan, didn't you notice anything? No. King Kuan said calmly, I didn't notice anything unusual. Taoist Fengyan existed before the heavenly court was destroyed. I don't think he has been replaced. Could it be that someone has been planning this since then? Taoist Fengyan did not appear suddenly. He had always existed. Therefore, he did not think too much about it. After thinking for a while, he said, however, he was also a member of the Earth Palace in the past. Do you think he's a backup arranged by my father? Hong Yu was not sure. Hong Kuan said coldly, back then, didn't the emperors ask you to build God Dynasty to lure my father out? Don't you know anything? Back then, didn't Hong Yu build God Dynasty to lure the earthly sovereign out? Those emperors did not believe that the earthly sovereign had been completely destroyed. They suspected that he used Nirvana to act secretly. However, he failed that time and did not lure the earthly sovereign out. Hong Yu looked at Hong Kuan and said after a while, of course I know something. For example, back then, there were emperors who determined that you are my father's incarnation. The destruction of the God Dynasty had a lot to do with Hong Kuan. Back then, there were emperors who guessed that Hong Kuan had been replaced by the earthly sovereign. Later, someone monitored and felt that it was not Hong Kuan. That meant that Hong Kuan was still Hong Kuan. However, it was also a fact that the God sect had destroyed the God Dynasty's plan to unify the 3 realms. Until now, there were still emperors who felt that Hong Kuan and the earthly sovereign should be related. As the brothers spoke, Feng chuckled and said, Hong Kuan, since Taoist Fengyan was in the God sect and the God sect had destroyed the God dynasty's plan. Did Taoist Fengyun instigate you to do that, or did you do it on your own accord? How do you know that the earthly sovereign's clone is fake? King Kuan thought for a while, and said after a while, I suspected it was fake from the beginning. When Father left, he told me that he might not come back for a long time. Even if he came back, he might not come back in a righteous manner. I didn't understand then. Later, I understood. I'm afraid my father already knew that he was in danger, and that the other 9 emperors might target him. The death of Zhang Tiandi had a lot to do with my father. At that time, my father was already the target of everyone. If not for Zhang Tiandi's death, my father might have been the first emperor to be killed. Therefore, my father must have expected this, and was even prepared to be killed. Perhaps he had arranged an escape route, and was hiding in the dark. Therefore, when Hongyu returned with great fanfare as my father, I knew that there was a trap. Others might not understand my father or Hongyu, but I know very well. Hong Kuan knew Hongyu. That was why he felt that there was a problem. At this moment, Li Zhu suddenly laughed. I heard that the God sect had 2 leaders in the beginning. King Kuan and brother, you were both leaders. I don't know why, but the 2 of you separated later on. Can the 2 of you talk about this today? Was the secret of the 3 realms still a secret? Fang Ping had already exposed his shocking secret. His secret was actually not that big of a deal. Hongyu glanced at Hong Kuan, then at the rest. He smiled and said slowly, that was indeed the case in the beginning. However, I met someone later on and changed my original plan. I didn't want to stay in the God sect and chose to leave. Hong Kuan said coldly, when you suddenly disappeared that year, I thought that you had been ambushed and killed. After that, Tianji, Tianming, and the rest appeared and followed you. I knew then that something was wrong. You were not dead. If you did not leave, and we joined forces, the God sect would have unified the 3 realms long ago. If we unified the 3 realms, you and I might have broken 9 already. Hongyu sighed. That's impossible. Could you and I really go up against the Patrol's faction back then? There are many heavenly kings over there. As for you and me, I was still a saint back then, and you had only broken 7. Therefore, when I found out about the Patrol's existence, and that these people were not dead, I gave up on this idea and chose to join the Patrol. Hong Kuan said coldly, who bewitched you? The Emperor. Hong Kuan was not too surprised. He was just puzzled. He frowned. Him again. What is the Emperor trying to do? If he cared about the Patrol, he would not have allowed them to be killed. However, he created an inspector, and last time he was forced to retreat by our joint forces. This time, his true body is here, but he is not willing to stand up for us. What is the Emperor thinking? The feeling this Emperor gave them was more and more complicated, more and more mysterious. Hongyu thought for a while and said softly, the Emperor's plans are huge. Actually, I have investigated a little over the years. Father's death back then might have something to do with him. Hongyu frowned. The deaths of Zhang Tiandi and the others are closely related to him. Now, all of you know that back in the heavenly courts, it was the Emperor who betrayed Father, and Zhang Tiandi died because of that. After that, Father also died because of that. Celestial Larch Batian and Celestial Larch Exterminate died as well. The Emperor looks inconspicuous and did not gain much from it, but he still enjoys it and has always been active. The Emperor. The few of them were a little strange at the mention of the Emperor. As they learned more and more about the ancient secrets were exposed, they felt that the Emperor must have played a special role in all of this. The Emperor, Seed, Qin Feng Qing, Zhan Tiandi, the names circled in their minds. Soon, Li Zhu's eyes flickered. Did Zhan Tiandi mention about using the seed to fill the hole in the source? Hong Yu thought for a while and said slowly, back then, he was on good terms with Father and stayed in the Earth Palace for a period of time. At that time, the problem with the source worsened. Later, when the immortal source was being forged, Father and the Emperor were talking about this. Father seemed to have mentioned this. Hong Kuan also recalled and said quickly, Zhan Tiandi wanted the celestial arch to guard the source and the 9 emperors to help. Those who broke their Tao, and those who scattered their cultivation dispersed their cultivation. He should have mentioned the seed before. Back then, it was not a secret among their group. Zhan Tiandi also felt that to solve the problem of the source, we should let the seed appear and fill the hole in the source. Li Zhu said again, what about the earthly emperor? Naturally, Imperial Father also agrees. Needless to say, the celestial arch and the others all had the same idea. Li Zhu's eyes lit up. If that's the case, the emperor did not gain any benefits from these changes. Instead, he was put in a difficult position. The celestial arch and the others were wary of him. His most outstanding disciple died. He was scolded by the human world, and his reputation was ruined. Li Zhu continued, but don't forget, when the immortal source was first built, the 9 emperors did not plan to attack the human world. They also did not plan for this 10,000 years. All of this only started after that. In that case, it meant that there was a huge problem with the Immortal Source project, and it was not as simple as it had been in the beginning, where the seeds could be lured out and directly filled in the pit. How did the Immortal Source project fail? Li Zhu murmured. The celestial arch and the 9 emperors felt that this problem could be solved. Otherwise, there was no need to forge the Immortal Source. In the beginning, the Immortal Source was not to control the great Tao of the 3 realms. The Emperor did not seem to have done anything, but he killed Zhan Tiandi and the others. Then, the earthly Emperor died. The celestial arch fell into the source. The other emperors had no choice but to be trapped in the source. When Li Zhu said this, everyone's mind raced. Soon, Feng Xiao said, the emperor did not gain anything. The only winner in all of this is the seed. The seed did not appear, and the pit was not filled. Even now, everyone is still looking for the seed. Everyone looked at each other. The beast, the arch, said coldly, you mean that the emperor did all of this to protect the seed? That's right. Li Zhu nodded. Yes, to protect the seed. The plan to lure the seed out is already in progress. Since Zhan Tiandi said that he could solve the problem, I suspect that Zhan Tiandi already has a way to find the seed. But the emperor is his teacher. Zhan Tiandi must have convinced the emperor before, and the emperor must have agreed. That's why Zhan Tiandi managed to convince the other emperors. But the emperor failed on the earthly emperor's side. The emperor knew that the seed was dangerous, so he purposely caused trouble on the earthly emperor's side. He even tried to sow discord. Then, he used the excuse that the earthly emperor and Zhan Tiandi might join forces and kill the other emperors. Then he killed Zhan Tiandi. The moment he said this, everyone's expression changed. The emperor might be the seed's protector. If that's the case, many things can be explained. Li Zhu murmured. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors, the celestial emperor, and the young god. Among these 15 people, some were the seed's protectors, some wanted to snatch the seed, and some wanted to fix the flaw in the source. In the end, these people had internal problems and cracks appeared that led to the war in the heavenly realm. The change in the immortal source plan should not have been caused by the emperor alone. There might be many emperors. That means there might be 2 or even 3 emperors now. Li Zhu exhaled. If that's the case, if the one who attacked was Qin Fengqing and he was related to the emperor, then Qin Fengqing might be this generation's protector. the seed's protector. Their goal should be to protect the seed. If that's the case, the emperor and the others would not kill Fang Ping. Instead, they would let Fang Ping and the other emperors fight. They would buy time or even kill the others so that the seed could be safe. Anyone who had designs on the seed was their enemy, including the celestial emperor, their disciples, their friends and relatives. The seed might not have been sleeping all these years. They might have planned it all along. Everyone's eyes flickered. Was that true? The emperor and Qin Fengqin, and even others, were the seed's protectors? That meant that all these years there was actually a force in the three realms that had been neglected. The seed's force? The few of them found it hard to believe. But at the same time, they felt that Li Zhu's idea was reasonable. Otherwise, there was no way to explain why there would be such a huge change in the plan. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.